accompanied by Can-Can's powerful presence, already close to that of a king stage, and its booming voice shaking the surroundings. The clear water within the Beast Emperor's well stirred up ripples, one circle after another. Along with the emergence of the ripples, a powerful and majestic power faintly radiated from the mouth of the well, the direction of its bottom. That immense power was identically sourced from the sturdiest of woods deep in the forest, the ones that seemed to touch the sky. It was the aura emanating from the sky-touching mysterious wood. At this moment, Can-Can, which had just a moment ago been bursting with vigor, now shrank back like a mouse who had encountered a cat, quickly retracting its body to a pocket-sized form and obediently hiding behind Su-Ran, occasionally stealing glances at the well's mouth. Even as its magnificent presence was now subdued, and all that remained of its previous voice was a faint echo, the ripples in the water within the well did not subside but seemed to grow more intense instead. Seeing this scene, Su-Ran and the other two little ones held their breath in unison. Could it be it really awakened the Beast Emperor? The ground raccoon clan leader nearby also couldn't help but widen its eyes. It watched the persistent ripples in the well water with slightly hurried breaths. It vaguely remembered that a long time ago, when their calls to the sky-touching mysterious wood were answered, similar occurrences took place. Could it be Su-Ran and his pet beast did it? Sharing this thought, other wild transcendent beings, drawn by Can-Can's earlier commotion, also cast their gazes in this direction. After a moment of dead silence, a clamor arose all around as various voices of the transcendent beings came one after another, and their presences surged forth swiftly. As weak as those at the elite stage, as powerful as the general stage, they were plentiful and varied. The transcendent beings living in this area appeared all at once, enlivening the previously quiet jungle. Their gazes towards Su-Ran bore no malice, but rather held a hint of curiosity. After all, after such a long time, there were very few who could cause an anomaly at the Beast Emperor as well as easily as the human before them. Screech! Following a prolonged and sharp cry, a large azure hawk with a powerful presence descended swiftly from the high tree canopy. With its appearance came an aura stronger than Can-Can's earlier peak state, spreading out with a deafening force. King Stage. This was a true King Stage creature, a being at the Beast King level. As it made its appearance, all the transcendent beings that had just emerged bowed their heads unanimously, becoming a bit more subdued. After the King Stage azure hawk landed, its gaze carried a mix of excitement and nostalgia as it stared in the direction of the well's mouth. Yet just moments later, the excitement and nostalgia faded somewhat. After a slight shake of its head, the azure hawk locked its gaze on Can-Can, the instigator from before, and let out a sharp cry. Screech! At the same time, the meaning embedded in its call became apparent in the minds of the surrounding creatures. Little one, try again. Almost simultaneously with the azure hawk's statement, the ripples emanating from within the well began to subside, and in the end, that powerful aura disappeared completely. This almost successful call still ended in failure. It was clear that the King Stage azure hawk had already sensed this, which is why it asked Can-Can to try again. Cha, really do it again. Seeing the gaze of the azure hawk and other surrounding transcendent beings, Can-Can couldn't help but draw back its head. Its heart was also filled with disappointment as it watched the dissipating ripples in the well water. But at the same time, it was also filled with relief and the fear following its previous recklessness. Asking it to do it again right now, Can-Can felt a little faint-hearted. Try again, Su-Ran pondered for a moment, then stroked Can-Can's head and spoke softly. This time we were almost successful. Maybe next time we will indeed succeed, right? Cha-tilde, then I'll try again. Seeing Su-Ran also encouraging it, Can-Can bit its teeth, cheered itself up in its heart and took another step forward. Xilu-tilde, I'll help you too. Starlight crowed, its gaze towards Can-Can filled with encouragement. It thought that Can-Can's failure to awaken the Beast Emperor just now might have been due to insufficient strength. Therefore, this time it would also join in, using the night rune to bolster it, which should make things more certain. Cha, okay. Hearing Starlight's words, Can-Can nodded firmly, feeling a bit more confident. The wild transcendent beings that had crowded around, having already witnessed Can-Can's increased body size, now quickly made way, leaving a large empty space. In the next moment, Can-Can shouted loudly as it swiftly grew in size amidst countless watching eyes, its presence climbing higher and higher. Xilu-tilde. Starlight roared, and the starlight patterns that faintly covered its body brightened all at once in that moment. An immeasurable dark power soared into the sky, while a complex and pitch-black pattern rapidly emerged on Cancan's body. With the enhancement of the night rune, Cancan's presence instantly broke through its previous peak and reached the king stage level in the astonished gaze of the beasts around, only slightly weaker than the Azure Hawk's presence. Feeling this increasingly formidable presence of Cancan, the Azure Hawk's eyes revealed anticipation. It couldn't help but flap its wings and rise into the air, positioning itself above Cancan's proudly lifted huge head, closely watching Cancan's next move. This time, will it awaken the Beast Emperor? As one of the most loyal subordinates of the Beast Emperor, it had been far too long since it was able to converse with the slumbering Beast Emperor. Chapter 510, 287, Conversation with Beast Emperor. If it had the chance to speak even a single sentence with the other party during this opportunity, it would feel a bit more at ease. With this thought in mind, the look in Azure Hawk's eyes as it gazed upon Cancan was filled with even more anticipation. Come on, rash younger generation boy. Amidst the breath-held attention of all beings around, Cancan's head slowly drooped down as before, until it was finally facing directly above the well opening. In those sparkling golden eyes appeared a hint of contemplative light, and then without any hesitation, Cancan shouted loudly towards the well below. Chartilda, Beast Emperor, wake up quickly. As Cancan's voice spread, the surface of the well within, as expected, once again rippled in layers upon layers. With the last occurrence as a comparison, anyone could tell that the waves this time were several times more intense. Along with the surge of the waves, more majestic power belonging to the Beast Emperor started to churn up from the bottom of the Beast Emperor's well. If one could say that the Beast Emperor's well was a tightly closed door, and on this side of the door were beings calling for the Beast Emperor, and on the other side was the Beast Emperor himself, then the previous call was like opening a very small crack in the door, only letting through a sliver of light. This time, it was as if a much larger crack had opened, enough for those outside the door to clearly glimpse the scene inside. The previously quiet beast swarm surrounding the area now once again showed signs of excitement and tension in their gaze. Undoubtedly, compared to the last time, the chance of this strange human getting a response from the Beast Emperor was much greater this time. Among the beast swarm, the older ones could vaguely remember the grandeur of the past. The ripples stirred up now seemed to vaguely reproduce the scene from those days. Countless beings held their breath tightly, watching the undulations. Would the Beast Emperor respond? Under the tense watch of one human, 3 guardians, and countless wild transcendent beings, the well water that was stirring began to become more and more violent. The power overflowing from the bottom of the well also started to intensify along with it. It was as if an invisible hand was slowly, yet firmly pushing open that long-sealed door. Eventually, the turmoil of the well water reached its limit, boiling up as if tumultuously turbulent, and under the gaze of countless beings, the water in the well began to sink rapidly. Various cheers erupted from all directions. Many within the beast swarm who had experienced this scene knew what it meant. It signified that the Beast Emperor had responded to Su Ran. Lure. Quick, take the opportunity to communicate with the Beast Emperor. The always calm and gentle ground raccoon clan leader couldn't help but let out an excited shout, his gaze urging Su Ran with a bit of haste, signaling him to quickly speak. Including the Azure Hawk of the King Stage and other beings, everyone's gaze froze upon Su Ran. Although they were hoping to piggyback on Su Ran's call to speak a few words with the Beast Emperor, they definitely had to let this major contributor of the call go first. In the center of everyone's attention, a hint of contemplation appeared on Su Ran's face. Truth be told, coming here to see and try to call the Beast Emperor was his sudden idea. Even at first, he had not considered that the Beast Emperor would respond to him, given that the Beast Emperor had not responded to any other beings for so long. It was only after Cancan almost succeeded last time that he began to think on his feet about what he should ask the other party. At this moment, with the well of the Beast Emperor churning with a powerful aura that was uniquely its own, Su Ran already had an idea in his mind. He strode forward, placing his hands on the edge of the well, and shouted loudly, "Pardon the disturbance, Beast Emperor. I wish to know the whereabouts of the extinct thunder attraction." Yes, the first question Su Ran wanted to know was regarding the most pressing issue for him and his 3 companions. That was about the whereabouts of the last piece of evolution material for Xian. Su Ran's voice echoed within the empty Beast Emperor's well, but what answered him was a silence. This. Viewing this scene, a hint of surprise and bewilderment flashed across Su Ran's face. If he still wasn't feeling the immense presence of the sky-touching mysterious wood, he might even think that this call had failed as well. Why wouldn't the other party respond to him? Char, is the Beast Emperor still not fully awake? In Cancan's still large eyes, a hint of confusion appeared. It moved closer to the well once more, looking as if it was about to let out a second roar, when the azure hawk that had been guarding the surrounding area slightly flapped its wings, using a twist of wind to interrupt Cancan's action. Liutilda. Humans, you need to wait a while, for even the long-silent Beast Emperor will have some difficulty responding. An azure hawk chirped softly, its eyes looking toward the mouth of the well, filled with respect and admiration. Reminded by the King Stage azure hawk, Su Ran also had a moment of realization. Indeed, when one just wakes up, there is a brief blank in consciousness, commonly known as grogginess. If the silent state of the Beast Emperor sky-reaching Chuanmu is also regarded as a deeper level of sleep, then its period of grogginess would naturally be much longer. Then I'll just wait patiently a little longer. The man and his 3 pets no longer spoke, quietly watching the direction of the well. 1 minute, 2 minutes. After about 10 minutes of waiting like this, a faint wisp of thought finally emerged from the well. Just as the King Stage can project the meaning of their words into the minds of other creatures, the moment this thread of thought arrived, all the creatures present understood its meaning. However, after understanding, Su Ran's expression became somewhat deflated. Because the Beast Emperor's response was, "I don't know." Even a being as powerful as it had no clue about the extinct thunder attraction. Meow tilde, it seems that the extinct thunder attraction is indeed very difficult to find. Xian sighed softly, a hint of helplessness crossing its face. But it quickly turned this helplessness into an even stronger fighting spirit. If it can't be found, then search even harder. Feeling the breath of a living Beast Emperor up close, it could sense the vast gap between itself and the other, like a chasm between life levels. Only through another evolution could it possibly reach such heights. Forget it, Su Ran quickly adjusted his mood as well. He had prepared 2 questions. Now that the first question had not received a satisfactory answer, it was time to ask the second one quickly. Beast Emperor Senior, is it possible to transform Beast Field number 97 into what the monster wooden domain is like now? Su Ran asked softly, his gaze filled with a hint of inquiry. Even the sky-touching mysterious wood couldn't change Beast Field number 47, and it could only occupy a corner and change the area under its control. With Su Ran's current strength, such a change was even more out of reach. But in Beast Field number 97, with only a few Beast Kings, it might be possible to attempt such a thing. Having grown close and interacted with 12, Su Ran's preconceptions about wild transcendent beings had dissipated. Seeing a place like the monster wooden domain that seemed like a holy land to both humans and wild transcendent beings, new ideas had begun to form in his heart. Could he try as well? As his question was posed, the breath within the well hesitated for a moment. It seemed the other party hadn't expected Su Ran to ask such a question. Soon there was a fluctuation in the breath inside the well. It wasn't because it was groggy and needed time to recover, but because it was pondering how to answer his question. After a good while, a whisper of thought came through. Enough power to suppress everything. Power, a trace of surprise appeared in Su Ran's eyes. He had thought that the Beast Emperor would have some special advice, but the final answer turned out to be so simple and brutal. Yet considering the situation inside the monster wooden domain, Su Ran's face revealed a hint of enlightenment. Indeed, that seemed to be the case. Didn't the original Beast Emperor forcibly occupy the monster wooden domain, arbitrarily commanding all creatures not to kill each other? Only after feeling the change in the monster wooden domain did everyone begin to gradually accept and ultimately support the rules set by the Beast Emperor. Everything followed a gradual process, and its beginning was indeed power. Chapter 511, 288, New Clues to Extinct Thunder Attraction, the Next Target. Chapter 512, 288, New Clues to Extinct Thunder Attraction, the Next Target. Xilu tilde, it's in the southwest direction. Star, standing by, had a glint in his eye as he looked up at the sky, quickly determining the direction they were heading. Meow, does that mean we're on the right track? Excitement filled Xian's eyes. Since hearing from the Azure Hawk Beast King that it knew of the extinct thunder attraction, that excitement had never left its eyes. It seems our previous guesses were not wrong, said Su Ran, reaching deep into his bosom where the drawings that recorded clues about the extinct thunder attraction, found within the Thunder Dragon Stone, were kept. After lightly touching it to confirm that the drawings were still on his person, Su Ran spoke softly. Senior Azure Hawk, where do we need to go? Screeched Hilda. The place we're going to is outside the monster wooden domain. The Azure Hawk Beast King let out a sharp yet friendly sound and started to recount slowly while they were flying. As you know, the world outside the monster wooden domain is not so peaceful. Transcendent beings slaughter each other, and they are hostile towards humans as well. Before I met the Beast Emperor, I too was one of them. I was already tired of such killing, so the monster wooden domain deeply attracted me, and I have long considered myself a part of the monster wooden domain. Every once in a while, I would leave the monster wooden domain and wander around nearby areas to see if there were other transcendent beings in the same situation that needed help, bringing them back into the monster wooden domain. Su Ran nodded in understanding. Poaching talent, he got it. About a year ago, I was wandering through the area I'm about to take you to, reminisced the Azure Hawk Beast King, a hint of memory in its eyes, when, unexpectedly, I came upon a confrontation between two Beast Kings. Both of these Beast Kings were Thunder Beast Kings, and they seemed to be fighting over some resources, ending up in a fierce battle. Because I interrupted by accident, they seemed worried that they would both get hurt and I would benefit from it, so they quickly ceased fighting. The Azure Hawk Beast King paused slightly in its speech. I clarified my identity, and the misunderstanding was resolved. Out of respect for the Beast Emperor, they spoke with me for a bit. During our conversation, I learned of the cause of their struggle. They were indeed fighting over a very important piece of thunder resources. That resource was called the extinct thunder attraction. So which of the two Beast Kings ended up with the extinct thunder attraction in the end? Su Ran's heart tightened, and his voice couldn't help but become more anxious. A year ago, two Thunder Beast Kings. Even if the two Beast Kings stopped their fight at the time due to the Azure Hawk Beast King's interruption, it had been a year since then. A victor must have emerged, right? If the one who obtained it had already started using that resource. Thinking of that possibility, Su Ran became anxious. Next to him, Xian also looked more solemn than ever before. This sounded like a big problem. No one got it, smiled the Azure Hawk Beast King, because according to them, the extinct thunder attraction doesn't appear immediately. It requires a certain opportunity, and what they were fighting over was the qualification to keep watch over this resource. Eventually, after I advised them, the two Beast Kings decided to temporarily halt their fight and wait together for the extinct thunder attraction to appear. As of now, the extinct thunder attraction probably hasn't appeared yet. The Azure Hawk Beast King turned back and looked at Su Ran. I will take you from afar to see the exact location of that place. If you also wish to compete for this resource, then it'll be up to you. Okay, Su Ran nodded, his expression somewhat resigned. So, if it hadn't been for the Azure Hawk Beast King meddling, the extinct thunder attraction would be guarded by a Thunder Beast King. And now, it was being guarded together by two Beast Kings. He couldn't help but glance at Xian beside him. Although one of the evolution conditions for Xian was to single-handedly defeat one Thunder Beast King and one Fighting Beast King. Clearly, it didn't yet have the strength to contend with a Beast King at this moment. Even with the power of its companions, it was doubtful they could handle one. And the Guardians were two Beast Kings. Fortunately, the extinct thunder attraction had not yet appeared in the world at this moment. He and the three little ones still had a chance to prepare. Soon, the figure of the Azure Hawk Beast King was fixed in the void. It flapped its wings and hovered in midair, its gaze directed at a certain spot ahead. We've arrived. Any further, and those two Beast Kings would be able to detect my presence. However, this should be close enough. Thank you, Senior, Su Ran nodded, followed the Azure Hawk Beast King's gaze and looked ahead, then his pupils contracted slightly. Indeed, as the Azure Hawk Beast King had said, this distance was already sufficient to see the location of the extinct thunder attraction. After all, it was far too conspicuous. The gaze fell upon a small valley. Completely different from the surrounding areas, This entire valley was dyed purple by the enshrouding thunder light. From time to time, one or two mysterious and enigmatic symbols flashed by within the valley, and with each flash, purple-black exotic thunder would descend from the sky, thundering into the valley. Yet around the valley, the skies were clear for thousands of miles, utterly cloudless. This exotic thunder arrived abruptly, unusually peculiar. Piecing together the information he had gathered about the extinct thunder attraction, Su Ran's eyes lit up in an instant. That's it. Hidden within this valley was the extinct thunder attraction. Thankfully, this resource hadn't yet been claimed. Although the troubles that would follow were no small matter, at last they had a target and didn't need to search around aimlessly like headless flies. Beside him, Xian's eyes gleamed the moment the purple-black exotic thunder appeared. It could vaguely feel that the purple-black thunderbolt had an immense attraction for it, and this attraction was not solely due to the incredibly strong thunder force it contained, but also because it held a special substance. That substance bore some resemblance to the power it used when executing divine punishment. At this moment, a single thought dominated Xian's mind. To obtain it. It absolutely must obtain it. Xilu Tilda, it seems like there is a human city over there. While Su Ran and Xian were staring intently at the distant mountain peak, hiding the extinct thunder attraction, Star's gaze quickly shifted towards a city some distance away from the valley. Even though from their line of sight the city was just a tiny point, being visible from this distance left no doubt that the scale of the city exceeded that of a 3-level town. Chances were it was a 2nd-level town. Yes, I see it too. Regaining his composure, Su Ran also noticed the 2nd-level town not far from the valley with Star's guidance. Senior, do you know what that human city is called? Su Ran couldn't help but point in the direction of the 2nd-level town and ask. That's a human 2nd-level town called Bright Radiant City. Without needing to look in that direction, the Azure Hawk Beast King already knew which one Su Ran was referring to and shook its head slightly. I once tried to interact with the humans there, but unfortunately, they seemed to consider me just another Beast King from the Beast Field and nearly attacked me on the spot. After all, Senior's strength is formidable. In the eyes of humans outside of the monster wooden domain, the threat is significant. Su Ran chuckled while quietly noting down the name. Bright Radiant City, huh? In just an instant, 2 figures popped into his mind. The owners of the 100 Flowers Foster Store and Lan Foster Care Store in Monster Wooden City seemed to hail from Bright Radiant City. It seemed that, after returning to Monster Wooden City, it was essential to pay a visit to these two. Chapter 513, 289. Accompanied by a piercing screech, the Azure Hawk Beast King, with a wingspan of tens of meters and an aura of the king stage swirling around its body, slightly retracted its wings, and like an arrow piercing through the clouds, its figure rapidly plunged from the high sky toward the earth. Just as its body, which almost seemed to transform into a streak of azure light, was about to collide with the ground, the Azure Hawk Beast King swiftly spread its wings to the maximum. Accompanied by a gust of wind that whipped up and stirred endless clouds of dust, its form instantly transitioned from motion to stillness, and then gently touched down. Su Ran, with his 3 little pets, jumped down from the sturdy back of the Azure Hawk Beast King and looked at Monster Wooden City, which was within close reach, before turning to look at the Azure Hawk Beast King beside him. Thank you for bringing us here, Senior. Screeched Tilda. With a screech, the Azure Hawk Beast King flapped its wings twice, as if to say it was no big deal. Then it soared high into the sky and vanished into the horizon in an instant. It wasn't until the Azure Hawk Beast King had departed that Xian, who had been immersed in excitement, finally spoke eagerly. Meow, we must get our paws on the extinct thunder attraction. Even at this moment, the powerful aura of the extinct thunder attraction still lingered in its mind, too potent to dissipate. And although they had not yet fully witnessed this resource, a glimpse was enough for Xian to know just how crucial it was. It was a resource that they had to obtain, no matter what. Don't worry, we will get it. Su Ran gently rubbed Xian's head and glanced at the sky-reaching Xuanmu of the Beast Emperor, visible from where they stood. In a few more days, the battle of 10,000 tribes will begin. Once the battle of 10,000 tribes is over and we get the Extreme Source Vein Crystal, it will be time for us to leave. Xilu Tilda, is it really time to leave? Star let out a whinny, a hint of reluctance in its eyes. It seemed that Monster Wooden City would be the city where they stayed for the shortest amount of time. but everything here had made a deep impression on them. The thought of leaving made Star feel a sudden sense of unwillingness to go. Cha, the gate to the monster wooden marketplace is right here. Let's visit the marketplace one more time. Can, who was beside them, looked at Star and suddenly suggested. That sounds good, Suran nodded slightly. The place where the Azure Hawk Beast King had set them down was just right at the gate that opened to the monster wooden marketplace from outside of the city. Entering through this gate and crossing the marketplace would take them into the city. Not counting the time of the public wash and care exhibition, it had been a while since Suran and his three little ones had visited the monster wooden marketplace. Now, approaching evening, a stroll through the monster wooden marketplace would be a perfect time to head back to their shop. The man and his three pets quickly entered the gate to the marketplace, but they hadn't gone far before they unexpectedly encountered a familiar figure. Li Tutu, Suran called out with a smile, waving to the other. Li Tutu, who had just seen off a visitor, heard the voice and quickly turned to look, his eyes lighting up when he recognized the caller. Then he jogged over. Boss Su, what brings you here? Went outside the city for a stroll today, just got back, Suran replied casually, then inquired, how's business lately? It's about the same as before, Li Tutu said with a smile. Every day, there are a few beast masters who come from other cities because they've heard about me. I'm one of the most familiar guides to the monster wooden marketplace. There's no one like me. At this, Li Tutu appeared quite proud, puffing out his chest. As a guide, you are indeed excellent, Suran nodded in agreement. He still remembered how much Li Tutu's assistance had helped him avoid many troubles during his first visit to the marketplace. What about you, Boss Su? Why aren't you managing your shop today and instead are out of the city? Li Tutu chuckled. I heard quite a few complaints from your customers at the marketplace today. Complaints? Suran raised an eyebrow. Is it dissatisfaction with our services? Not at all, Li Tutu shook his head. They are very pleased with the service, but I heard quite a bit of grumbling about the new employee at your shop. They say the new hire you've got is really strange. Ah, about that. Suran's mouth twitched slightly, realizing he couldn't continue on this subject, and quickly changed the topic. Although the new staff might be strange, the service is still very good. They're capable enough to run the shop after I've left. Leaving? Li Tutu was indeed shocked by this more substantial piece of news, briefly forgetting his earlier question. Boss Su, are you going to leave Monster Wooden City? Yes, Suran spread his hands. You know that I'm not originally from Monster Wooden City. I came here at the invitation of the Monster Wooden City Beast Master Association to open a branch. I knew that Boss Su is from Xian City, Li Tutu nodded. Well, not exactly. But let's not dwell on that, Suran cleared his throat. In any case, business in Monster Wooden City is on the right track now, and it'll soon be time for me to leave and see other places. So, after the battle of 10,000 tribes, you'll be leaving Monster Wooden City. Li Tutu suddenly recalled the first time he met Suran when Suran asked him about the battle of 10,000 tribes. Time-wise, the battle was about to start. What Suran had just mentioned about in a while must be referring to that event. Chapter 514, 289. Indeed, Suran did not deny. For the battle of 10,000 tribes, I must participate if it involves something I desire. Okay, Li Tutu nodded, and then suddenly had an idea with some anticipation. Boss Su, are you planning to hang around the monster wooden marketplace today? That's the plan, Suran nodded with a smile. When I think about it, it was only the first day that I properly browsed the monster wooden marketplace after arriving at Monster Wooden City. It's a rare opportunity today, so I'll take another look. Then let me be your guide again, Li Tutu spoke loudly. I'll take you to places we didn't visit last time. That would be nice, Suran did not refuse the kind offer. Then I'll trouble you. No trouble at all, Li Tutu nodded without hesitation. Seeing Suran getting ready to transfer some Beast Master points on his phone, he quickly shook his head. No need for money this time. No money, Suran paused mid-motion, looking at Li Tutu in surprise. MMHMM. Li Tutu nodded emphatically, not giving a reason but skillfully navigating past the bustling crowd of the marketplace, leading Suran down a small path. A moment later, they had taken a shortcut and arrived at a new area of the monster wooden marketplace they hadn't reached before. This is another area of the monster wooden marketplace known as the contract area, Li Tutu introduced while leading the way. As the name suggests, This is where human beast masters and wild transcendent beings make agreements with each other. There's a dedicated area. Su Ran's interest was piqued upon hearing Li Tutu's explanation. So, what's the difference between the contracts here and usual contracts? Of course there's a difference and not a small one. Li Tutu paused briefly, pointing at an outdoor stall. Look over there, Boss Su. Following Li Tutu's pointing finger, Su Ran saw a somewhat funny scene. A human beast master was sitting in front of a snack booth, but he wasn't eating. There was no food from the booth in front of him. Instead, his mouth was constantly moving as if he was saying something. In front of the little earth-round bear seated across from him, however, there were all kinds of food, and it was heartily eating with great gusto, clearly feeling festive and pleased from a distance. Next to the little earth-round bear, there were two much stronger earth-round bears just standing by, not intervening but silently watching the small earth-round bear eat merrily and listening to the words of the human beast master. Observing such an unusual scene, a few notes of surprise appeared on Su Ran's face. Those two earth-round bears look like the parents of that little one. What's going on with that human beast master? Is the little earth-round bear his pet beast? That's the difference in the contract pet beast process in the contract area I was telling you about, Tutu chuckled. If everything's as usual, that human beast master has yet to form a contract with the little earth-round bear. He's in the process of trying and seeking approval. Buying all that food for the little earth-round bear is a way to increase its favorability towards him. The Monster Wooden Marketplace's contract area was set apart some time after the marketplace was established. Li Tutu indicated the surroundings. There are normal services catering to the needs of humans and pet beasts for food, drink, play, and enjoyment. But the core of everything here is aimed at creating contracts. Wild transcendent beings who are willing to let the young members of their species contract with human beast masters can bring the young ones here. Because wild transcendent beings tend to be stronger than the domestically bred pet beast individuals, there are quite a few beast masters eager to contract with them. Beast masters with contracting needs come here, make their selections based on the type of pet beast they want, and then attempt to form a contract. However, since wild transcendent beings have families and tribes to contract with them, you need not only the individual pet beast's consent, but also the approval of its family group. Tutu paused for emphasis. So, it's essential to show sincerity. Entertaining the contract pet beast and its tribe with food and fun is the usual way to show sincerity. This, Su Ran's expression turned amused. Why does it sound like a matchmaking event? Look, that beast master has succeeded. Li Tutu suddenly spoke up, pointing to the same beast master who had been treating the earth-round bear to food. The two previously inactive large earth-round bears started to take food from the table, just like the small one, and began to eat. And the beast master, whose expression had been somewhat tense after observing this development, visibly relaxed, his smile deepening. Is that considered a success? Su Ran was curious. Does the young contract pet beasts tribe accepting the food indicate success? What's the custom behind this? Most wild transcendent beings don't go for much roundabout commotion. Their ways of expressing emotions are much more straightforward, Tutu explained with a smile. If they didn't approve of the beast master, they wouldn't eat his food. Because accepting food implies the need to reciprocate the kindness. I see, Su Ran nodded, having grasped the concept following Li Tutu's explanation. The next moment the table, fully laden with food, was rapidly emptied by the voracious eating of the three earth-round bears, and the smiling beast master stood up, leaving with the three bears in tow. Chapter 515, 289. Chapter 516, 289. Because the battle of 10,000 tribes was to happen the next day, Su Ran and his three small companions unusually did not go out today, preparing for the upcoming fight while waiting for the staff of the Beast Master Association to come and notify them of the relevant matters. This wait did not last too long. The Starfear foster care shop had just opened for the day when the staff arrived. The person responsible for the notification was Zhou Yang, the same staffer who had handled the registration before. Boss Su, long time no see. Zhou Yang's face was full of smiles, and his expression toward Su Ran was noticeably more polite than before. In this period, with the rapidly increasing fame of the Starfear foster care shop, Zhou Yang had come to understand that the Beast Master brought for late registration by the Vice President that day was no ordinary person, and his attitude naturally shifted accordingly. Mr. Joe, long time no see. Su Ran replied with a courteous smile. The battle of 10,000 tribes starts tomorrow, right? Yes, Zhou Yang nodded. Boss Su, you are at the general level, so the battle of 10,000 tribes has been scheduled for you on the third day. This is the list of Leaf Awards and ranking rewards for the general level battle of 10,000 tribes. While speaking, Zhou Yang handed a small booklet to Su Ran. Moreover, I need to reiterate something to Boss Su. Zhou Yang's expression grew a bit more serious. During the battle of 10,000 tribes, you must not kill your opponents, nor maliciously inflict serious injury on them, or the Beast Emperor will personally punish you. Even the Beast Master Association of Monster Wooden City will not intervene then. I understand. Su Ran took the booklet and nodded, indicating he got the message. Thank you for the information, Mr. Zhou. That's all I need to say. Zhou Yang's expression relaxed slightly. As for other details, Boss Su can observe the battles of 10,000 tribes at the elite and leadership stages in the next 2 days to get a clearer picture. That was exactly my plan, Su Ran said with a nod and a smile. In that case, I'll take my leave now. Zhou Yang nodded to Su Ran, then turned and left. As there were quite a number of local beast masters registered for this session of the battle of 10,000 tribes, he had a busy day ahead of him. Watching Zhou Yang go, Su Ran immediately opened the booklet. The 3 small ones, who had remained silent until now, had their eyes glued to the booklet the moment it appeared and almost instantaneously crowded around. Meow, Extreme Source Vein Crystal. Excitement filled Xian's distinctive eyes as its gaze swiftly searched the list. Let's look together, Su Ran said with a smile, and quickly began flipping through the list. There were 2 types of rewards in the battle of 10,000 tribes. The first was the Leaf Award. At the time, 100 leaf fighting platforms, made from sky-touching mysterious wood, would hide 1 resource each. When the time limit for the platform ended, whoever stood on the platform would automatically receive that award, as well as a corresponding ranking for the leaf platform. The ranking awards were the second set of prizes distributed according to the rankings. The value of both sets of rewards was roughly equivalent. However, since the rewards were split into 10 attributes, to acquire 2 suitable resources, some trade-offs would need to be made. For instance, for a certain contestant, both the Leaf Award of Platform Number 5 and Platform Number 8 might be suitable, but the ranking reward of Platform 5 might not be suitable, whereas the ranking reward of Platform 8 was suitable. In this case, the lower-ranked Platform Number 8 might be more appropriate for the contestant. Basically, the moment the 2 lists of rewards were confirmed, the particular leaf platform that each contestant needed to fight for would also be settled. The approach for Su Ran and his 3 small companions in choosing was more straightforward and forceful. That was, they would rather obtain another useless award, but ensure to get the Extreme Source Vein Crystal. So, Leaf Fighting Platform Number 3, Su Ran said in a low voice, his eyes fixed on a line in the Leaf Award list. There it boldly read, Extreme Source Vein Crystal. Just standing on Leaf Fighting Platform Number 3 and persevering until the end of the battle of 10,000 tribes would bring the resource to him. Meow, we must obtain it. A fierce fighting spirit ignited in Xian's eyes. No malicious harm, huh? This time, if anyone dares to stop it from getting the Extreme Source Vein Crystal, it would beat them up. Zailu, should we check the reward for the 3rd rank? Star asked in a low growl, curiously inquiring. No matter what the ranking award was, Xian's evolution was the most important, so choosing Leaf Fighting Platform Number 3 was imperative. However, if the ranking award for Platform Number 3 also suited them, it would indeed be a joyous fortune. Let me check. Su Ran also contemplated this and nodded swiftly before continuing to flip through the booklet. In a short while, the 3rd place ranking award appeared before them. Star Scar Nightlight Stone, Su Ran said with a hint of surprise upon seeing this unfamiliar resource. This seems to be a dark-type resource. The next moment, Su Ran and the other 2 small ones all turned their gaze towards Star. Zailu Tilda, how wonderful Tilda. Joy was evident in Star's cry. This second resource could be for it, and that couldn't be better. Compared to Xian and Cancan, who already possessed 4-star skills, it was somewhat behind and definitely needed a quick boost. It seems luck is also on our side. Chapter 517, 290, New Evolution Path and New 4-star Skills. Happy New Year to everyone. With the addition of the 3rd foster shop in Monster Wooden City, Su-ran's pleasure value earnings increased by a substantial amount. Before the start of this resource allocation, his total pleasure value had already broken through the million mark. This allowed Su-ran to perform 10 consecutive draws of 10 for the first time. Although there was still no guarantee, with the blessing of the lucky fish aura from the 3 lucky fish, he successfully drew the items he wanted. The number of skill fusion stones reached triple digits for the first time, totaling 128 pieces. With this number of skill fusion stones, he could successfully achieve 3 4-star skills if things went smoothly. There were a total of 14 purple items. 6 were 3-star skill scrolls, 5 were talent skills fusion stones that he could not use for the time being, and the last 3 were meditation acceleration cards. 3 cards at once, enough to renew 3 months worth of meditation acceleration. What made Su-ran happiest was the 2 red items he obtained under his outstanding luck. The first was an advanced meditation acceleration card. Just 1 month had passed since he first obtained it, and this renewal came just at the right time. With it, Su-ran was confident that he could break through the 5th stage contract power within the next month or 2, and achieve king-level beast master status. As for the second, it was also a familiar item to Su-ran. The Emperor species evolution route. Its importance was self-evident. While obtaining the evolution path was just the beginning, and neither collecting evolution materials nor satisfying the proper evolution conditions were easy tasks, everything would be mere talk without the evolution path. Su-ran's gaze couldn't help but sweep over Star and Can-Can. He wondered who would ultimately receive this evolution path. Huala. Efficiently dragging out the blackboard, Su-ran wrote all the resources on it, excluding the 2 kinds of meditation acceleration cards. As expected, upon seeing the last line of the list written on the board with its glaringly large characters, the eyes of both Star and Can-Can lit up at the same time. "That's right, today we will have another partner obtaining an evolution route," Su-ran said with a smile. "You decide among yourselves who will get it." Xilu. "I hope to prepare for evolution first." Star let out a whinny, looking towards Can-Can. Now was not the time to be modest. In a situation where both Xian and Can-Can had already acquired 4-star skills, it, the only one without 4-star skills, was already 1 step behind. If it allowed Can-Can to evolve first, then it would be even more behind. Although the Emperor species evolution route would certainly be acquired again in the future, it did not want to wait any longer. The nightmare it experienced while searching for the Thunder Dragon Stone once again surfaced in Star's mind. Although it had been fake, it did not want to lag behind its companions anymore. Confronted with Star's resolute gaze, a trace of conflict and hesitation surfaced in Can-Can's golden eyes. Without a doubt, it desired the evolution path. But it also understood that Star needed the evolution path more than it did. Moreover, according to the order in which they joined the team, it should be Star's turn now. The Emperor evolution path would be available again in the future. Perhaps during the next resource allocation, there would be a new evolution path, right? With this thought, the conflict in Can-Can's eyes gradually dissipated. "Cha, then you go first." "Xilu, thank you." Star let out an exhilarated whinny and then turned its gaze to Su-ran. Their internal negotiation was completed, and it was now time to reveal the evolution path. For a moment, Star's heart was filled with nervous emotion. Xian's Emperor species evolution path remained fresh in its memory to this day. In that evolution path, not only was the collection of evolution materials significantly more challenging than the King species evolution route, but there were also more stringent evolution conditions to meet. Besides that, the leader stage Xian even had to kill 2 King stage extraordinary beings on its own. If its own evolution path were like this, would it truly be able to achieve it? "So, you're still choosing the highest potential of 6 stars, right?" Hearing Su-ran's inquiry, it was the first time hesitation and conflict appeared in Star's eyes. 6-star potential almost always corresponded with 6-star evolution difficulty. And if the other 6-star evolution difficulties also had requirements like defeating king-level beings. For the first time, Star entertained the thought of choosing a slightly lesser evolution path. Having the good fortune to evolve into the Emperor species was already an extremely lucky event, so why push itself too hard? No sooner had this thought surfaced than it became incessant in its mind. "Meow, of course choose 6 stars." Seeing its companion's hesitation, Xian jumped onto Star's head without hesitation, raising its paw to give Star a tap. What is this guy thinking? Chatilda, exactly. Kankan, standing beside, chimed in. If you're going to choose the best. Otherwise, wouldn't it be a waste of the chance it had struggled so much to give up? Zelutilda, all right. Seemingly awakened by the words of the two little ones, Star vigorously shook its head to dispel the earlier thoughts. To catch up with the others, not even the slightest deficit would do. Even if the evolution path contained similar requirements, it would surely find a way to cope. Reinvigorated by this, Star's amethyst-like eyes filled with determination once again. It looked up at Suran and nodded slightly. Good, Suran nodded with a smile. Suran had seen Star's earlier hesitation and conflict, and he clearly understood the concerns behind it. Chapter 518-290, New Evolution Path and New 4-Star Skills. Happy New Year to everyone. However, Star should be an auxiliary type of pet beast, so it should not be too bad, right? Thinking this, Suran didn't hesitate to choose Star, and used the Emperor Species Evolution Path he had just obtained. Evolution Path, Star God Horse Dark, Right Arrow Dark Star Horse Dark. Evolution Difficulty. Evolution Potential. Evolution Path, Star God Horse Dark, Right Arrow Godlike Star Horse Dark. Evolution Difficulty. Evolution Potential. Evolution Path. Discarding several evolution paths that looked impressive but did not reach 6 stars in evolution potential, Suran's gaze finally settled on the only one among the 70 or 80 paths that showed 6 stars in evolution potential. Then a surprised expression emerged on Suran's face. Evolution Path, Star God Horse Dark, Right Arrow Star Cloud Guardian Dark. Evolution Difficulty. Evolution Potential. This 6-star potential evolution path actually did not have a 6-star difficulty. Star, there's some good news, Suran suddenly smiled. Your evolution path only has a 5-star difficulty, you know. While Star's expression changed from tense to joyful, Suran did not hesitate to select the evolution path before him. As the other evolution paths dimmed and disappeared, the chosen evolution path swiftly unfolded, revealing the detailed information below. Xilu. Star, excited, opened its mouth as if to ask for more details on its evolution path, but upon seeing Suran's gaze fixed on the void, it instinctively closed its mouth. It knew Suran must be looking at its evolution path at this moment, and all it needed to do was wait. Only 5 stars for evolution difficulty, huh? A glimmer of excitement appeared in Star's eyes. In this way, maybe it wouldn't need to personally kill a king stage extraordinary being. Watching Suran still maintaining his gaze, Star couldn't help but lightly stomp its hooves. Damn, it's so anxious. Meanwhile, Suran had also seen Star's complete evolution path. Evolution Path, Star God Horse Dark, Right Arrow Star Cloud Guardian Dark. Evolution Difficulty. Evolution Potential. Evolution Conditions. Star God Horse has not broken through to King Stage. All talent skills of the Star God Horse must be upgraded to 4 stars before evolving, with at least 3 skills having a connection to star power. All talent skills reach Violent Sun level proficiency. Evolution Materials. Town Star Stone Main, Dawn Star Radiance Main, Star Scar Nightlight Stone Main, Dark Emperor Level Blood Essence Main, Brilliant Gem Main, Eternal Life Calamity Dew Main. Evolution Ritual. Assist a transcendent being that has not reached King Stage in defeating a Dark King level extraordinary being, obtaining its core resources as auxiliary evolution materials. Complete the evolution on a night of star cloud, when the stars are reflected in the sky. Having read through the entire evolution path, Suran couldn't help but stroke his chin. When compared with Xian's Emperor Species evolution path, he could almost understand why this evolution path only had a 5-star difficulty. Perhaps taking into account the Star God Horse's auxiliary attributes, although Star evolution ceremony still requires the killing of extraordinary beings as evolution materials. It does not need to do so alone or even as a primary participant. It just needs to assist a general stage extraordinary being in the killing. With that, the room for maneuver became much more significant. And what's more, it was about killing one, not 2. Naturally, the difficulty would be considerably lowered. However, although the evolution ritual was less challenging, Star evolution conditions and evolution materials were still not simple. Let's talk about evolution conditions first. Similar to Xeon, aside from all talent skills reaching 4 stars and proficiency level reaching violent sun level, there is an additional skill requirement. At least 3 skills must be connected to star power. This requirement is even more abstract than Xeon's evolution conditions. Xeon's conditions included the explicit requirement that 4 skills be of thunder attribute and fighting attribute, a very clear demand. But star power is a somewhat ethereal thing. What kind of skills are considered to be connected to star power? And Star's evolution materials are likewise not straightforward. Compared to Xeon, it even has one more principal material. However, there was some good news as well. Suran's gaze moved to the third evolution material listed, the Star Scar Nightlight Stone. This item was another reward from the battle of 10,000 tribes. It was, in a manner of speaking, fortuitous. Xilu, how is it going? Star's slightly anxious voice brought Suran back to reality. Looking at the 3 little ones, all with tense expressions, Suran took a deep breath. For Star's evolution, there's no need to personally kill a king stage extraordinary being. Xilu tilde, that's such a relief tilde. Star let out a great sigh of relief. Now that its biggest worry was no more, everything else was not an issue. According to Star evolution ritual requirements, it only needs to assist a transcendent being that has not reached king stage in killing a dark king level extraordinary being. Meow tilde, leave it to me. What's one more divine punishment tilde? Xeon waved its paw dismissively as it spoke. To complete its own evolution ritual, it already needed to use divine punishment twice. What was one more time? Chapter 519, 290, New Evolution Path and New 4-Star Skills. Happy New Year to everyone. At this moment, it felt rather like having plenty of debt was not so burdensome after all. Xilu tilde, no need. Star suddenly shook its head, its eyes flickering with contemplative expression. Xeon had once unleashed divine punishment, and Star had witnessed the agonizing backlash. If possible, it naturally did not wish for Xeon to suffer such pain on its behalf again. Moreover, it indeed wasn't necessary. It could enhance Xeon, causing Xeon's strength to increase substantially without needing to rely on divine punishment. Of course, even with its own enhancements, the prospect of Xeon killing a king stage transcendent being was still remote. But if the one it enhanced was Xeon, after evolving to the general stage emperor species, then presumably, it could easily kill a king stage being without needing divine punishment, right? When Star articulated its thoughts clearly, there was also a spark of realization in Xeon's eyes. Right, that's another way to do it. Being able to use divine punishment one less time, it naturally had no objections. Meow tilde, then it's decided. Let it first complete its evolution, then help Star kill a Dark King level. It seems this problem is solved, Suran smiled. Now let's discuss Star's evolution conditions. Aside from all the talent skills being upgraded to 4 stars, reaching the violent sun level, Star also needs to have at least 3 skills related to star power, Suran said, looking towards Star. Do you know what this means? A contemplative expression appeared on Star's face, and shortly after, as though it had realized something, its eyes brightened. Xilu, I think I know what it means. It possessed a 3-star skill called Star Falling Power, yet to be fused with other skills, originating from a king stage resource it had absorbed earlier. This resource permitted it to absorb the power of outer stars to recover and bolster itself. Because of the existence of this skill, Star had long been exposed to so-called star power, and was clear about which of its skills were related to star power. The first one, Faded Star Pulling. This skill in Star's initial form upon awakening was a 2-star skill called Star Chain. It was the only skill that had a connection to star power back then. Later, with the aid of a 3-star skill scroll, it transformed into the current Faded Star Pulling, and its connection to star power didn't fade but became even clearer. Without a doubt, it counted as a skill related to star power. As long as it was upgraded to 4 stars, 1/3 of the additional evolution conditions would be fulfilled. Apart from that, Star had another skill connected to star power. That was the new skill awakened alongside its last evolution, after it developed a shiny horn on its forehead, the 2-star skill Immortal Star Attraction. Now, it had likewise been elevated to a 3-star skill called Star Refusal Ring. Simply by upgrading this skill further to a 4-star skill, another third of the additional evolution conditions could be satisfied. As for the final third, that would fall upon star falling power. In Star's plans, star falling power would be fused with Heart of Eternal Night, and it was going to be the first skill to undergo fusion. After completing the fusion, the newly developed skill would also be related to star power. So, though the evolution condition was complex, it seemed it could be effortlessly achieved. After sharing its analysis with Su Ran also breathed a sigh of relief. Since there's no issue with evolution conditions, now there's only one last problem. Su Ran paused slightly. Evolution materials. Regarding that, I have a piece of good news and a piece of bad news. Which would you like to hear first? Su Ran glanced at Star, suddenly speaking with a cheery tone. Xilu Tilda, let's hear the bad news first. Star neighed in response, its expression turning solemn. It was ready for the likelihood that its evolution resources would be difficult to find. The bad news is, you have one more main material to gather for your evolution than Xian does. Su Ran spread his hands. Xilu Tilda, one more huh. A trace of resignation appeared in Star's eyes. It was common knowledge how hard to find Xian's evolution resources were. If not for good fortune, the extreme source vein crystal, which only appeared during the battle of 10,000 tribes in Monster Wooden City, might have taken a longer time to find. The extinct thunder attraction, a powerful resource that even Overlord stage transcendent beings regretted missing before their fall, was now known to have a specific whereabouts, but was being guarded by two Thunder Attribute King stage transcendent beings, and there was still a wait for its day of birth. Even the Thunder Attribute Emperor stage blood essence, exchangeable since their time in Xian City, demanded a hefty amount of beast master points at a sky-high price. Whereas the last two evolution materials, Brilliant Gem and Eternal Life Calamity Dew, could be more simply acquired, and clearly, although they were also main materials, their importance was nowhere near the former three. And now, the number of main materials needed for its evolution even surpassed Xian's. So when would it be able to gather all these resources? Not until the proverbial monkeys grow horns. Can, what's the good news then? Before Star could regain its composure, Can, who was right beside, asked out of curiosity. The good news, Su Ran chuckled, one of the materials is the Star Scar Nightlight Stone. Star Scar Nightlight Stone. Mulling over the name of this material, Star suddenly felt a flicker of familiarity. Once it realized where this familiarity came from, its amethyst-like eyes fiercely ignited with a desire for battle. Chapter 520-290, New Evolution Path and New 4-Star Skills. Happy New Year to everyone. Battle of 10,000 Tribes. This time in the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, we have one more reason to compete for third place. Su Ran spread his hands, his expression slightly odd. In other competitions, it's always about competing for first place. But this time, the two rewards for first place were unsuitable for him and his three little companions, so aiming for third place had become the target instead. Xilu Tilda, third place, it's ours to claim. Xian readjusted his mindset and nodded firmly. Although there was one more main material for evolution than Xian had, a clue for one of these materials had now been found. Rounded up, it might as well be no difference at all. Alright, the assignments for the evolution paths are complete. Let's move on to skill fusion now. Su Ran smiled and tapped the chalk on the small blackboard section labeled Skill Fusion Stone. We have quite a number of skill fusion stones this time. Tilda, I won't compete this time. Can waved a paw, giving up the chance for skill fusion first. Xian and Star were both preparing for evolution, so it was better to let them make their choices first. Can had not yet obtained his evolution path and could afford to wait. Meow, then I'll go first with the new skill fusion. Xian's eyes shone, speaking up immediately. By his calculations, the skill fusion stones this time were enough to fuse 3 4-star skills. With so many resources, they must be put to good use. Hearing Xian's words, a glint of contemplation crossed Star's eyes. Currently, both he and Xian were in the stage of preparing for evolution. According to the team rules, both had the same priority to choose resources. However, he was still willing to let Xian choose first. After all, Xian's evolution was the prerequisite for his own evolution ritual to be completed. As for his evolution, it wouldn't hurt to be a little later. Xilu Tilda, I'm fine with fusing just one 4-star skill. Star neighed, its eyes filled with joy and anticipation. Seeing his teammates acquire 4-star skills, it would be a lie to say he wasn't envious. Now at last, he also had the chance to fuse his first 4-star skill. After the three little ones reached an agreement, Xian's skill fusion began first. "Which one are you planning to fuse?" Su Ran selected the skill fusion stone and asked with a smile. "Meow tilde, Heavenly Thunder Strike." The 3-star skill Heavenly Thunder Strike evolved from Xian's 2-star skill, Falling Thunder, upgraded with the help of 3-star skill scrolls. And for the other 3 fusion skills corresponding to it, Xian already had some ideas in mind. 2 of them were the ranged attack skills Puncture Thunder Spear and Thunder Penalty Gun. The last skill to select had to be compatible with a fighting attribute skill to fulfill the requirements for a double attribute 4-star skill evolution. Imitating Star's previous action, it exchanged 40 skill fragments for a suitable 2-star skill. After upgrading it to 3 stars with skill scrolls, the fusion for Xian's third 4-star skill began. 5, 10, 15. Amidst the repeated fusion failure notifications, Su Ran, who had already become unfazed, finally saw the colorful fusion success after the 44th skill fusion attempt. Heavenly Thunder Strike, Halo level, 187/50,000 plus. Astonishing Thunder Fury, Halo level, 187/50,000 plus. Looking at the skills vanishing from Xian's panel and the new skill that appeared, Su Ran's face showed a hint of surprise. He remembered Xian's new evolutionary form was called Astonishing Cloud Chaser. The name of this 4-star skill was quite fitting for its evolutionary form. He wondered what the effects would be like. With that thought, Su Ran turned his head to look at Xian beside him. "Meow tilde." Xian let out an immensely contented sound, its face full of satisfaction. That familiar sense of becoming stronger and happier had emerged once more. Sensing Su Ran's questioning gaze, it focused its attention and began to sense the brand new skill it had just mastered. A moment later, Xian's eyes revealed a deep surprise. Its third 4-star skill was as strong as ever. Whether it was Heavenly Thunder Strike, Puncture Thunder Spear, or Thunder Penalty Gun, they were all Thunder attribute ranged attack type skills. Since the fighting attribute had almost no ranged output skills, Su Ran and Xian, after some selection, had chosen a 2-star skill that barely made the cut for ranged output, Sky-Piercing Throw. This was a throwing type of fighting attribute skill, which could also be considered a ranged output skill. The system's given fusion success rate proved that such a choice was viable. When the skill was upgraded using 3-star skill scrolls, its inherent nature didn't change much. It just became significantly more powerful. But when it fused with the 3 Thunder attribute ranged attack skills, it underwent a fundamental transformation. Astonishing Thunder Fury was a remarkably flexible output type skill. It had 2 different modes of output. The first method was to summon the unpredictable thunder of Astonishing, striking towards the designated direction. This was an area damage skill. The closer the target was to the central area, the higher the damage received. Maximum damage with one strike could easily incapacitate opponents of the same stage, if not outright slay them. The second method also involved summoning the thunder of Astonishing, but instead of directing it towards a target, it was gathered in hand to form the formidable Astonishing Thunder Spear. This Thunder Spear could be used in combat, complementing Xian's immortal body for enhanced effectiveness. It could also activate Astonishing Thunder Fury's second form of attack. Throwing. By throwing the Astonishing Thunder Spear, it could instantly create a small area of high lethality thunderbolt piercing effects, bringing about formidable single-target damage. Compared to the first method's area damage, the second way undoubtedly offered even higher destructive power. Chapter 521, 291, the first 4-star skill of the star. For characters with fragile builds who rely on DPS, aside from explosive output, another very important element is, of course, elusive speed that makes it difficult for opponents to catch. Xian was keenly aware that she was not skilled in terms of defense, unable to be without flaws like Can-Can, so she needed to find a different approach to perform even better in the realm of speed. The fourth 4-star skill she chose to enhance was Step on Electric Traces. This skill, which had been upgraded from the initial electric arc, had accompanied Xian throughout her entire growth and strengthening journey. Now, it was time to elevate it to the highest star level it could currently achieve. One of the evolution conditions for Xian required at least 4 4-star skills that were dual type, thunder attribute and fighting attribute. With the successful fusion of divine punishment and astonishing thunder fury, half of this goal had already been met. The remaining 2 4-star dual-type skills included one that was already a dual-type skill, Destruction Thunder Claw. As for the last dual-type skill, Xian planned to choose between King's Power and Thunder Shake Heavenly Sound, while Step on Electric Traces would remain as its original trait, upgrading to 4-star as a pure Thunder attribute skill. The 3 skills that were to be fused with Step on Electric Traces had already been gradually gathered by Xian, through absorption of resources from the King Stage tier and the enhancement from 3-star skill scrolls. What was needed were just a sufficient quantity of skill fusion stones. Meow, let's begin. With eyes filled with anticipation, Xian turned to Su Ran and urged him. All right, Su Ran nodded slightly, then once again opened the skill fusion interface and selected Step on Electric Traces along with the other 3 skills that Xian had prepared. Fusion began. After numerous attempts signifying fusion failure with a purple-gray light, that one distinct flash of color was unmistakably clear. After 42 failures, Step on Electric Traces slowly vanished from Xian's panel. In its place was a brand new 4-star skill. Step on Electric Traces, Halo Level Plus. Path of Destruction, Halo Level Plus. Meow tilde tilde tilde. Xian trembled uncontrollably. The instinctual joy of life transformation from when Astonishing Thunder Fury was upgraded to 4-star had not completely subsided, and now a new 4-star skill brought waves of tremendous pleasure. Its eyes slightly squinted, making strange noises uncontrollably from its throat. It took quite a while this time to gradually calm down. Realizing Su Ran's and the other 2's gazes, a sense of embarrassment instantly welled up in Xian's heart. Meow meow, it's an instinctive reaction. Xian couldn't help but argue, then looked at Can-Can. Can-Can had also experienced the upgrade to 4-star skill, and should understand, right? Chirp tilde, I understand. Can-Can nodded affirmatively, showing understanding. The peculiar feeling that came with the upgrade from 3-star to 4-star, Can-Can hadn't forgotten it even now. That must be the happiness of growing stronger. As Su Ran watched the interaction between Xian and Can-Can, and heard Star's snort mixed with anticipation and impatience, he couldn't help but smile. Following the completion of Xian's second skill fusion, it was now Star's turn for skill fusion. Different from the other 2, it would be Star's first time experiencing such an event. Although it had previously experienced its talent skill upgrading from 2 stars to 3 stars, upgrading from 3 stars to 4 stars was clearly a whole different matter. So what exactly does that feel like, so anxious? What is the effect of your new skill like? Asked Su Ran, still smiling, as he looked over at the interactions among the 3 creatures. Meow, the new skill you ask. Reminded by Su Ran, Xian quickly refocused on the matter at hand. Experiencing the myriad of skill usage scenarios and memories that suddenly surfaced in her mind, the light in her heterochromatic eyes began to shine brilliantly. This skill fit her situation so incredibly well. Having fully grasped the entire skill, Xian couldn't resist immediately sharing the details of this skill with Su Ran and the other 2. As they had initially anticipated, the fused new skill was a pure thunder attribute skill, and compared to the original Step on Electric Traces, it was a qualitative change. The original Step on Electric Traces allowed Xian to not only move at extremely high speeds, but also to leave behind shadows of accumulated thunder force along her movement path. These shadows could linger for a while and, if touched by an enemy in mid-course, would automatically explode, causing a small area of thunder attribute blast damage. During the lifespan of the shadows, Xian could at any time return to any one of the shadows' positions. While this skill could also inflict damage, its primary function was still to enhance speed. Path of Destruction was a skill that equally emphasized both speed and damage. It retained Xian's speed from Step on Electric Traces and greatly enhanced it, eradicating the production of shadows and the effect of returning to them. In their place, a brand new effect was introduced. Lei Jing. After deploying Path of Destruction, Xian's trajectory would solidify into Lei Jing, and any enemies touching the Lei Jing would suffer thunder strike damage and a strong paralyzing effect. Xian herself and the Lei Jing were one and the same. She could appear at any spot on the Lei Jing without any restrictions. It covered all the effects of the original step on electric traces, and even added the one key element Xian had been lacking. Chapter 522, 291, the first 4-star skill of the star. Control. All you need to do is be aware of your own movement trajectory, get more familiar with the brand new skills, and Xian can easily use Path of Destruction to create layers of imprisoning thunder cages, trapping the opponent inside without any chance of escape. Once the opponent inadvertently touches Lei Jing, suffering heavy damage and paralysis effects, Xian can appear in front of it in no time, and there's no need to say more about the resolution that follows. After understanding the effects of Xian's fourth 4-star skill, Su Ran and the other two little ones all widened their eyes in amazement. It always feels that all 4 of Xian's new skills are frighteningly powerful. 4-star skills horrific as such. Psi tilde, good thing I have Land of Destruction. Can showed a relieved expression. Even though all of Xian's skills are strong, its Land of Destruction, in terms of strength, is no less powerful than Xian's skills, and it's even an area of effect killing skill that Xian doesn't have. So no big deal. Xilu tilde, is it my turn now? Star couldn't help but let out an eager whinny, urging on. Seeing that Xian's 2 brand new skills were as powerful as the previous 2 4-star skills, Star, who didn't have a single 4-star skill, was incredibly envious. 4-star skills, it want them too. Next up, it's Star's turn, said Su Ran with a smile, touching Xian's head. Seeing how impressive Xian's 2 skills were had put him in an even better mood. Is the first skill Star is going to fuse Heart of Eternal Night? Asked Su Ran with a smile. He remembered this very clearly. Long ago, Star began preparing for the fusion of the Heart of Eternal Night skill. The other 3 skills had been chosen early on. Xilu tilde, correct. Star nodded emphatically. Heart of Eternal Night was initially its sole 1-star skill, tenacity. But after a long period of diligent training and enhancement, the skill became the most important one for Star. It allowed Star to have inexhaustible power like a perpetual motion machine. It could help Star heal any injury swiftly, and fully amplified dark skills. It was only natural to prioritize such a versatile skill to elevate to 4 stars first. Let's begin then, said Su Ran with a slight nod, and then reopened the skill fusion page. Heart of Eternal Night plus Star, Falling Power plus Quiet Night Breath plus Night Ignite. Fusion success rate, 0.0191%. Proceed with fusion. Yes, no. Looking at the familiar prompt that popped up on the panel, Su Ran took a deep breath. This was Star's first time attempting to fuse a 4-star skill, but even more important, with the addition of the skill Star Falling Power, this would be Star's first 4-star skill meeting extra evolution conditions. Let's see then what sort of transformation would take place. With a mental shout, Su Ran pressed the yes button without hesitation. Once, twice, 5 times, 10 times. One after another, fusion stones dematerialized in the system's storage, and attempt after attempt at skill fusion ended in failure. In the end, Su Ran's swiftly moving hand came to a halt in midair. In front of him, dazzling colorful lights illuminated 4 words. Fusion success. Almost at the same time, the original skills disappeared from Star's panel, replaced by a new skill that came into view. Heart of Eternal Night, Halo Level Plus. Prayer of Starry Night, Halo Level Plus. This skill. Look of surprise appeared in Su Ran's eyes. Just from the name alone, it seemed completely unrelated to the original Heart of Eternal Night. But being the upgraded version of Heart of Eternal Night, its effects were bound to be more than what could be deduced from just the name of the skill. So, it was now up to Star to reveal the answer. Turning his gaze to Star, Su Ran soon had a wry smile on his face. Let's wait a little longer then. Let Star fully experience the joy of a skill leveling up. Thrilling, too thrilling. Feeling an odd sense of pleasure and a sense of achievement like a leap in life level seeping from every tiny corner of its body, Star couldn't resist the urge to howl at the sky, venting the emotions in its heart at this moment. And it did just that. Xilu tilde. With a fervent whinny, Star raised its front hooves high, its robust body reflecting smooth and astonishing light under the lamp. Accompanied by the heavy stomping of its front hooves on the ground, its formidable power surged upward from all around it. At this moment, Star, with its first 4-star skill, was wildly arrogant. Meow tilde, now you understand our feelings right. Seeing Star's excited state, Xian lay lazily on the bed, squinting its heterochromatic eyes with a look that said, "I knew it would be like this." Xilu Tilda, this feeling is wonderful. Star nodded vigorously, then came back to its senses, beginning to explore the memories and countless images about its new skill suddenly appearing in its mind. After that, it became even more excited. Before fusing this skill, it had imagined countless possible outcomes. The new skill, however, turned out to be much better than the best possible result it had envisioned. Shaking its head vigorously, Star couldn't wait to share its joy with its buddies. Prayer of Starry Night, like the previous Heart of Eternal Night, was an enhancement skill. However, compared to the previous Heart of Eternal Night, this skill not only dealt with more buffs, but its enhancement effects were almost doubled. Chapter 523, 291, the first 4-star skill of the star. In order to facilitate understanding, it can be viewed as two separate skills. One is Night Prayer and the other is Star Prayer. Night Prayer inherits all the effects of the Heart of Eternal Night: recovery, self-healing, and empowering dark skills, and it significantly enhances these effects beyond their original scope. Star Prayer, on the other hand, possesses entirely new skill effects: strengthening, protection, and empowering star power skills. Strengthening is an ability inherited from one of the 4 fused skills, Night Ignite, which allows the star to significantly increase its strength in a short time. This enhancement, coupled with the skill effect, can produce a synergistic outcome greater than the sum of its parts. Protection is a completely new effect that none of the 4 fused skills possess. It can gather the power of starlight to form an indomitable guardian that surrounds the star. This defensive power cannot be shared with companions like the Night Rune, but it can be shared with Su Ran through Faded Star Pulling. What's more, its defense is much stronger than that of the Night Rune, even against formidable opponents 1 growth stage higher. It provides the star with much more leeway for maneuver. As for the final empowering of star power skills, it is similar to Night Prayer, except that the target of empowerment has changed. When the skill enhanced by Prayer of Starry Night is also a dark attribute skill and related to star power, both Night Prayer and Star Prayer's benefits will take effect simultaneously, resulting in a multiplicative enhancement. For example, if both enhancements are 3, the final enhancement effect is not 6, but 9. This Prayer of Starry Night. After hearing the introduction from the star, a peculiar look crossed Su Ran's face. Without a doubt, the star's first 4-star skill is in no way inferior to Xian and Cancan's skills in terms of strength, and it rightly deserves the name of a 4-star skill. But he always felt that the emergence of this skill had dug a sizable pit for the star. According to the additional requirement of the star's evolution conditions, the star needs at least 3 4-star skills to be related to star power. Out of the 7 talent skills of the star, choosing 3 to fulfill this condition is not particularly difficult, so this additional requirement is not hard to meet. However, now that the first skill to be fused even has a cumulative enhancement effect for dark and star power skills. Doesn't this mean that? Xilu Tilda, I want to change the planned fusion of subsequent skills and fuse all skills into those related to star power. The star's resolute words caused a sigh to rise in Su Ran's heart. As expected, if subsequent 4-star skills were simply dark attribute skills, then Prayer of Starry Night would only benefit partially, which would be a significant loss. Given the star's nature, it would definitely not make such a choice. Therefore, it would certainly make things harder for itself, ensuring that all skills were connected to star power to maximize the enhancement from Prayer of Starry Night. Prayer of Starry Night, along with the Faded Star Pulling enhanced by Rise Star and the Star Refusal Ring, are the 3 skills we can think of that are related to star power, Su Ran said softly, looking at the star. They just happen to meet the extra requirements for evolution. If you want the other 4 skills to also be related to star power, that won't be as easy. Su Ran paused slightly. Are you sure you want to do this? The star pondered for a moment and then nodded firmly again. Xilu Tilda, I'm sure. Even though the star had no idea how the other 4 skills could connect with star power, it still wanted to try. Besides its inherent dislike of being at a disadvantage, there was another key factor that the star did not mention. That was the sense that it somehow felt that it was meant to do this. Whether it was the abilities awakened afterward or the evolution that followed, the star had a feeling that its ability center seemed to keep transitioning from the dark attribute towards a new power. That new power was not any of the 10 attributes, but rather star power. It seemed as if the dark attribute was just a stepping stone. This notion was very strange, but it often surfaced in the star's mind and reached its peak with the appearance of the evolution conditions for the Emperor species' evolution path. If so, by possessing more skills that resonate with star power, wouldn't the star's chances of successful evolution be higher? Although it hadn't tried yet, it was as if a voice in the star's mind kept telling it that this was feasible. "All right, since you've already made your decision, I'll support you with all my might," Su-Ran said, stroking the star's head softly. The skill fusions of the star had almost exhausted all the skill fusion stones. The few remaining were not enough to complete another 4-star skill fusion, and had to be reserved for the next resource allocation. Subsequently, the 3 little ones began to distribute the remaining resources according to their leftover value points. After some modesty and amicability, the allocation of all resources came to a conclusion. The surplus physical points allowed the very close to general stage 3 little ones to reach the complete general stage, and the additional points also enabled them, already with Halo-level skills, to steadily progress towards the Violent Sun level of skill proficiency. After writing down the remaining states of the 3 little ones on the little blackboard, Su-Ran casually placed the 2 divine artifacts back in the corner. "Rest well tonight. Tomorrow we'll go see the Battle of 10,000 Tribes." Although the Battle of 10,000 Tribes taking place tomorrow is not at our leadership stage level, but at the elite stage level, it's good to familiarize ourselves with the venue and the process in advance. Having said this, Su-Ran quickly sat cross-legged and closed his eyes, entering a state of deep meditation on the bed. The last advanced meditation acceleration card had just expired today, and Su-Ran was worried that his meditation speed would significantly decrease. The fact that the new advanced meditation acceleration card arrived so timely was unexpected. Coupled with the renewal of the acceleration card, his rapid meditation could continue for a good while longer. This made Su-Ran appreciate the preciousness of meditation acceleration even more, and even caused him to practice with increased diligence. Watching Su-Ran immediately sink into meditation, the 3 little ones exchanged glances. "Rest well." "No way." Chapter 524, 292. The battle begins. Thousands of clans vie for supremacy. At this moment, Zhang Zhu truly felt what it meant to want to find a crack to crawl into. He had naively thought that if he encountered Boss Su in the upcoming competition, he would need to figure out how to go easy on him. Never had he expected that Boss Su would actually be a general-level beast master. General level. In a second-level town like this, beast masters of this level were not particularly rare, but each one held a fairly high status. A general-level beast master like Su-Ran, who runs a foster shop and daily performs washing and caring for various pet beasts, was unheard of. "Boss Su, you." Zhang Zhu opened his mouth as if he were about to ask something but didn't dare to, his expression clearly becoming a bit more tense. "Running a foster care shop is a personal hobby of mine," Su-Ran said with a smile, patting Zhang Zhu's shoulder as if he saw what the latter wanted to ask. "I haven't experienced the Battle of 10,000 Tribes before, so I want to get familiar with it beforehand. I'll be watching today's competition closely, so you'll need to work hard," he said, giving Zhang Zhu a supportive hand gesture. "After all, you are a guest of our Starfare foster care shop." "Yes, yes," Zhang Zhu nodded vigorously, his eyes filled with renewed fighting spirit. Boss Su had such a high opinion of him, he felt he needed to perform even better. In that instant, a thought swiftly emerged in Zhang Zhu's mind. If he managed to achieve a good ranking in today's Battle of 10,000 Tribes, he would definitely find a way to let more people know about the Starfare foster care shop. As the two conversed, the team moved quickly. In a short while, Su-Ran could see the sky-touching mysterious wood, which seemed to grow larger as it got closer. Compared to the last sighting of the sky-touching mysterious wood, it seemed to have grown even bigger now, clearly, its trend of expanding outward showing no signs of abating. On one side of the massive body of the sky-touching mysterious wood, Su-Ran also saw from afar the competition site for this Battle of 10,000 Tribes. It was a sky-reaching pillar, specifically constructed from the body of the sky-touching mysterious wood for the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, about 100 meters thick. On the side of this sky-reaching pillar, from bottom to top, were spiral platforms each spanning several hundred meters. Each platform was supported by an incredibly large leaf, and at the center of each leaf platform, there surged rich energy fluctuations. Those were the leaf rewards hidden within the platforms. Seeing this, a look of awe couldn't help but appear on Su Ran's face. It had to be said, although its colossal size brought great troubles to the sky-touching mysterious wood, such a massive body indeed produced a stunning impact under certain conditions. Just like at this moment, the sky-touching mysterious wood simply extended a single branch and easily constructed such a vast competition arena. Zhang Zhu, standing nearby, apparently already had his sights set on a platform to compete for. His gaze was firmly fixated on a particular leaf, his fighting intent growing even stronger. A moment later, he withdrew his gaze, noticing Su Ran's expression. Knowing it was his first time seeing the battle of 10,000 races, he began to explain proactively. The sky-reaching pillar and leaf platforms will continue to expand over the next 3 days. The current size of the leaf platforms is only 300 meters in diameter, which is designed for battles in the elite stage. Tomorrow, for the leadership stage, the size of the leaf platforms will expand to 1 kilometer. The day after, in the general level, it will be 3 kilometers, and on the last day at the king stage, it will be 10 kilometers. As he spoke, Zhang Zhu's face couldn't help but show a bit of wistfulness. I saw the conditions of the last day of the battle of 10,000 tribes last year. It was truly magnificent, as with the expansion of the fighting platforms, the sky-reaching pillar will grow thicker and taller, even surpassing the size of the sky-touching mysterious wood itself. I can roughly imagine that, Su Ran inhaled sharply, his expression of awe growing even deeper. Each leaf platform with a scale of 10 kilometers, over 100 such leaves spiraling to the clouds, such a battle arena was utterly astonishing. And the sky-touching mysterious wood that shaped such an arena was incredibly powerful. One could assume it to be among the virtually invincible, the Beast Emperor level, right? But a tinge of worry inevitably emerged in Su Ran's eyes. Supporting its own body was already a massive burden for the sky-touching mysterious wood at present, necessitating long periods of slumber to alleviate this pressure. In such a situation, it was still committing to constructing a colossal arena not inferior to its own size to host the battle of 10,000 tribes. Could there really be no problem? Looking at Zhang Zhu's face, full of excitement and eagerness, who had never considered this point, Su Ran sighed softly in his heart. Perhaps he was being overconcerned. Boss Su, I need to go check in at the waiting area for the battle of 10,000 races. Zhang Zhu pointed towards the venue not far away, at 2 tall, gigantic spirit ostriches wearing special floral crowns on their heads. By their side, a medley of transcendent beings and humans were already gathered. Obviously, these 2 giant spirit ostriches, known for their intelligence, were de facto staff members responsible for check-in today. All right, go ahead, do your best. Su Ran smiled and sent his well wishes again, watching as Zhang Zhu departed and then turning his gaze back to his 3 little ones. The first battle of 10,000 races hasn't started yet. Shall we take a walk around? Upon entering the competition venue, he had already seen many lively stands. Yes, stands. Just like the stands in the Monster Wooden Marketplace. During this grand event in the Monster Wooden Domain, many shrewd individuals had also brought valuable items from their tribes to set up shops. Chapter 525, 292. Battle begins. Thousands of races compete for supremacy. Chapter 525. Chapter 292. Battle begins. Thousands of races compete for supremacy. Moreover, unlike the Monster Wooden Marketplace, most of the stands here were occupied by transcendent beings. It happened to be a time when all the creatures of the Monster Wooden Domain were gathered here, creating a cacophony of noise in a lively scene. Meow tilde, I want to look at that. Xian sniffed the air, catching a whiff of a scent that intrigued it, and quickly fixed its gaze on one of the stalls, a look of anticipation on its face. All right, Su Ran nodded, and then, with the 3 little ones, he quickly walked over to the stall. The vendor was a gem kite, small and agile, adorned with gem-like, twinkling, colorful crystals all over its body, which made it very attractive to look at. At the moment, this gem kite had its wings folded and was standing on the ground, with a pile of various fruits in front of it that resembled a small hill. These fruits stemmed from various extraordinary plants, and at first glance, there were at least dozens of varieties. Even Su Ran could not help but marvel when he saw them. Although they weren't of high value, collecting so many varieties was no easy feat. However, thinking of the temperament and abilities of the gem kite, Su-ran felt a burst of clarity in his mind. This species enjoyed tasting and collecting all kinds of transcendent fruits, and with their super ability attribute, they could even digest fruits of other attributes and convert the power within on their own. So it was reasonable for a gem kite to offer these fruits. Xian took another sniff, and its gaze finally settled on a fruit with a black skin covered in green and purple stripes. The scent that attracted it came from this very fruit. Xian extended a paw to point at the fruit, and then looked at Su-ran. "Meow, I want that one." "No problem." Su-ran nodded his head, crouching down to inquire with the gem kite, "How are you selling these fruits?" The gem kite's colorful eyes sparkled with intelligence as it shifted its gaze slightly. "Rui Tilda." As it spoke, an invisible thought reached Su-ran and the three little ones. "Exchange them for other things that interest me. Super ability 1-star skill, mind induction." "All right," Su-ran nodded, a hint of surprise in his eyes. He hadn't expected this species to possess the same ability as 12. This would make communication much more convenient. After pondering for a moment, he quickly took out a small, well-packaged item from his pouch and handed it over to the gem kite. "Will this do?" The gem kite stared at the unfamiliar item in front of it and tilted its head slightly. "Rui, can I open it?" "Of course, this is food. You can give it a taste first," Su-ran said, smiling as he passed the item over to it. It was a snack that he regularly prepared for the three little ones, also made from transcendent resources, without any attribute distinction, suitable for consumption by any attribute. The snack had received rave reviews from all three little ones. Presumably, the gem kite before him would like it too. The fruit that Xian had taken a fancy to wasn't particularly valuable. It just happened to be to its liking, making food a suitable item for exchange. Upon hearing that it was food, a look of curiosity emerged in the eyes of the gem kite. It used its sharp beak to tear open the packaging, and soon picked up a crispy snacking slice resembling a potato chip and chewed on it twice before swallowing. Next, its eyes lit up instantly. Obviously, this previously untasted flavor was to its satisfaction. "Rui Tilda, it's a deal." The gem kite casually flapped its wings, and the fruit that Xian had taken an interest in flew out from the pile and landed in Xian's hands. "Meow Tilda, I'm starting to eat." Xian sniffed again, and then ferociously bit into it with an aowu. The fruit looked somewhat like a black plum, with a black, thin skin lined with green and purple that was edible, and inside was the dark purple flesh. Faintly visible between the flesh were tiny leaping electric arcs, which might have rendered any non-thunder attribute pet beast with a numb mouth if they ate it. But for Xian, these were minor issues. After finishing the fruit in just a few bites, leaving only a shiny purple pit behind, Xian wiped off the dark purple juice remaining on its mouth, looking thoroughly satisfied. "Delicious." Equally content was the gem kite. The snack Su-ran had brought was devoured in the blink of an eye, half gone already. Seeing the pit in Xian's hands, the gem kite couldn't resist adding another piece of information. "Rui Tilda, that's a green lightning purple fruit. You can try planting the pit if you like it. Maybe it will grow into a green lightning purple fruit tree." "Meow, can I really do that?" Xian's eyes lit up, and it clenched the once-to-be-discarded pit in its hands tightly. It looked up at Su-ran, its eyes searching his for confirmation, wanting to know if what the gem kite said was true. "In theory, it's possible," Su-ran rubbed his chin, "but the green lightning purple fruit tree can only grow in places dense with thunderbolt energy, and if you can't find such a place, you'll need to fertilize it every day if you want to plant it." "Meow, how do I fertilize it?" Xian pursued the question. It was apparent that it really enjoyed the fruit it had just eaten. "Fertilizing isn't difficult, just water it with thunder force every day," Su-ran smiled. "If you really want to plant it, you can keep it for now. We'll plant it once we reach Bright Radiance City." "Meow Tilda, no problem." Xian happily stored the pit. "Do you two want one?" Su-ran turned to Star and Can-Can. "Rui Tilda, give me another packet of the snack from earlier, and I can give you 2 fruits." Chapter 526, 292. Battle erupts, a myriad of tribes compete. Chapter 526, Chapter 292. Battle erupts, a myriad of tribes compete, /. The gem kite took the initiative to speak. "Chia, then I'll take that one." Can-Can scanned through the pile of fruits and quickly fixed her gaze on one of them. Zailu, I choose this one. Star was equally quick in choosing another fruit. After the exchange of money and goods, Can and Star, having tasted the fruits, also voluntarily left behind the seeds, seemingly sharing the same idea as Xian. Suran smiled at the sight. It seemed that, once in Bright Radiant City, the three pets would have a new daily task, taking care of their respective fruit trees. After bidding farewell to the gem kite, one person and three pets turned towards other stalls, quickly blending into the bustling marketplace. Time passed by the minute and second, when suddenly a clear rustling sound dispersed throughout the vicinity. Every creature in the competition area and nearby swiftly stopped what they were doing, their gazes turning towards the direction of the sky-touching mysterious wood. The next moment, an invisible notion emerged in the minds of all creatures. 10 minutes remain until the battle of 10,000 tribes begins. 10 minutes, huh? Suran placed the resource he was examining back on the booth and then looked at his three pets. Let's go find a place to sit. Next to the sky-reaching pillar of the battle of 10,000 tribes, there were branches actively hanging down from the sky-touching mysterious wood. These branches, with numerous big and small forks, served as natural spectator seats. Even before the sky-touching mysterious wood issued a reminder, many creatures had already chosen their spots, and amidst the cover of lush green leaves, the branches were dotted with the silhouettes of beasts and people. Fortunately, the branches of the sky-touching mysterious wood were really large, so Suran and the three pets easily found a fairly decent viewing spot in the middle section. Sitting here, one could see both the high-level leaf arenas and the low-level leaf arenas, virtually encompassing the whole scene of the battle of 10,000 tribes at a glance. While the audience was searching for seats, the contestants of this battle of 10,000 tribes also began to appear one after another. With no host and no introductions of contestants, they simply stood in a circle around the base of the sky-reaching pillar to signify that they were ready for the battle of 10,000 tribes. The selection of the audience was met with enthusiastic encouragement. Various fervent beast roar sounds rose and fell. Suran even saw several roaring bears not far from him, so excited that they almost fell off their seats. It was unclear what they were so thrilled about. Following the gaze of these few roaring bears, Suran noticed that among the appearing contestants was a small roaring bear. Oh, that was nothing then. Zhang Zhu's figure also appeared within Suran's sight. It was apparent that the previously battle-hungry Zhang Zhu was now quite nervous, continually glancing around, perhaps trying to spot Suran. Unfortunately, it was easier to spot a contestant from the audience seats, but much more difficult to find someone in the audience from a contestant's position. The 10 minutes passed in an instant. As the gradually arriving audience had mostly found their seats and settled down, the contestants on the field were also making ready to act. Another crisp sound of leaves rubbing against each other reverberated throughout the competition area. Once again, an invisible notion descended. The competition begins. The next moment, the poised contestants sprang into action. With set targets in mind, their movements were remarkably synchronized as they launched themselves toward the leaf arenas above. The side of the sky-reaching pillar was intentionally pitted to help transcendent beings without the ability to fly climb up rapidly. There were even small caves for them to take a brief rest. Those with the ability to fly, on the other hand, had some advantage in this phase. They just needed to spread their wings, and they were already surpassing the hard-climbing contestants in height. Chia, what would happen if they attacked each other at this moment? On the branch, Can, staring with wide eyes at the group of contestants, suddenly spoke up. According to the rules of the competition, they can't attack each other at this time, Suran explained with a smile. The only place where fights are allowed in the battle of 10,000 tribes is the arena. Zailu tilde, but it seems they can interfere with other contestants. Star let out a low growl, looking in a certain direction. It was a wind attribute four-winged bird, whose flapping wings stirred up a gale, turning into several small tornadoes that affected other flying contestants in the race. This also caused quite a few climbing contestants to stumble and sway. And such an action wasn't stopped or punished. It seems there's some leeway in the rules of the competition. Suran, having also noticed, stroked his chin, and a thoughtful expression crossed his face. But soon, he had no time to think about it any longer. For the first battle on the arena of the battle of 10,000 tribes had begun. While other contestants had yet to reach their targeted arenas, on the number 100 leaf arena at the bottom, two figures had already engaged in battle. It was a fight between an earth lizard dragon and a fire fierce monkey, one earth and one fire. Even though they were just at the elite stage, their moves already carried quite a potent force. For a while, many eyes in the audience turned in their direction. In the end, the fire fierce monkey, with its more powerful offensive skills, heavily blasted the earth lizard dragon out of the arena, concluding this battle. The fire fierce monkey itself had also expended a great deal of strength during the fierce fight. A pale light film quietly covered the number 100 leaf arena, and mist began to form inside, while the energy on the arena visibly thickened. Chapter 527, 292, Battle erupts, thousands of clans clash. Chapter 527, Chapter 292, Battle erupts, thousands of clans clash /. This was the cooling-off period after a successful defense of the arena. If the defenders were allowed to continually accept challenges from other competitors, they would eventually be worn down by the relentless battles, regardless of their strength. At some point, they would be exhausted, which would be unfair to the defenders. Therefore, every time a defense was successful, and the light film rose, the sky-touching mysterious wood would release its power to help the defender recover quickly. Before the light film dissipated, the challengers were not allowed to enter the arena. Of course, this recovery was not endless, and the light film could not last forever. If the injuries were too severe or the exhaustion too great, and the defenders had not recovered during the appearance of the light film, they would ultimately have to leave the arena dejectedly. About 3 minutes passed, and the light film quietly faded away. The fire fierce monkey on the arena, who had been taking the time to recover, leaped up, its strength not fully restored to its peak, but already back to 70 to 80%. With the arrival of the second challenger, the second battle for it commenced. However, by this time, the number of spectators focusing on the fire fierce monkey had dwindled. During these 3 minutes, the other contestants had taken their places one after another, and a series of exciting battles were underway on the leaf arenas, drawing the attention of a large audience. Su Ran's attention had also moved away from the fire fierce monkey. His gaze was fixed on the seventh arena. Compared to the arenas below, the seventh arena was already at a higher layer, reaching thousands of meters in height. Battling there gave a sense of fighting atop the clouds. And one of the contenders on the seventh arena was Zhang Zhu, who had chatted with Su Ran for a long time when leaving the city. According to the rules of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, beast masters could summon a pet beast to combine with their own strength for combat, where the pet beast could be switched out, but not during the midst of a battle. And transcendent beings, when facing off against beast masters, were allowed to attack the beast tamers themselves. At this moment, the creature Zhang Zhu had summoned was his first and most attuned pet, the flame dragon beast, which resembled a ferocious dinosaur enshrouded in flames, every movement radiating an astonishing heat. At the elite stage level, this flame dragon beast was almost at its peak. Other spectators who were paying attention to this battle couldn't help but express their amazement and start discussing when they saw the state of the flame dragon beast. The opponent to this man and his beast was a blue-green phoenix bird. In stark contrast to the flame dragon beast, a continuous stream of cold mist surged around it, causing the surrounding temperature to drop rapidly and ice fragments to form incessantly. An ice attribute leader species, the ice blue phoenix bird. Daring to ascend to such heights as the seventh layer, the ice blue phoenix bird clearly had great confidence in its own strength, and it indeed had the corresponding backbone. For it was from a beast king group within the monster wooden domain, a transcendent being whose path of evolution was already clear. Fire against ice, as soon as their battle began, it escalated to a fever pitch, far more intense than the previous fight between the earth lizard dragon and fire fierce monkey. The ice blue phoenix bird was clearly well prepared, fully aware that its current opponent was a beast master, and that the weakest point for a beast master was their own body. So, while dealing with the flame dragon beast, the phoenix bird attempted to break through several times, aiming directly at Zhang Zhu's true self. However, as a beast master, Zhang Zhu was naturally vigilant against this very attack. Besides the 4 formidable 2-star talent skills that the flame dragon beast naturally possessed, it had also been taught an additional 2 fire attribute 2-star defense skills, which protected Zhang Zhu exceptionally well, foiling the ice blue phoenix bird's attempts to land a successful strike. The battle between the two sides entered a stalemate after an initial flurry of intense action. The ice crystals sublimated in the scorching heat, and puff after puff of white vapor veiled the battling arena with a sheer layer of gauze. Chapter 528, 293, Boss Sue. Chapter 528, Chapter 293, Boss Sue. Good morning, Boss Sue. Boss Sue, are you going to watch the competition again today? What's that you're carrying on your back, Boss Sue? Continuously responding to the greetings from customers, Sue Ran cheerfully walked out of the Starfair foster care shop with the thunderous long sword wrapped in cloth on his back, along with his 3 little companions. Before long, after making his way through the crowd of customers, he swung himself onto Star's back and raced towards the city gates like the wind. At the gates of Monster Wooden City, a remarkably unified swarm of people formed a thick, long queue, heading straight to today's Battle of 10,000 Tribes venue. This was already the 3rd day of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes. Having witnessed the grandeur of the elite stage battle of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes 2 days ago, Sue Ran did not miss yesterday's leadership stage battles either. He saw the competition venue expand several times overnight and also watched the fiercer battles, witnessing the birth of the top 100 leaders of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes before returning home satisfied. Today, unlike the previous 2 days where he sat in the audience as a spectator, Sue Ran would be personally participating in the general stage level of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes. Thanks to the last 2 days of watching the competition, he and his 3 companions had gained quite an understanding of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, so even though it was their first time competing, they wouldn't feel entirely unfamiliar with it. In place of that unfamiliarity, there was a strong sense of anticipation. This anticipation stemmed not only from the opportunity to acquire the main material for evolution for both Star and Xian during the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, but also from the intense competitive atmosphere of battle that ignited their passion and combat spirit. To perform better in the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, Sue Ran even brought with him the long sword acquired from Thunderbolt Half Mountain, which he seldom carried. Following the large contingent, one man and his 3 beasts quickly arrived at the competition venue they had visited the previous 2 days. Although it was the same place, the competition venue had expanded significantly overnight, leaving both Sue Ran and the other spectators with a sense of familiar unfamiliarity. What had been the Leaf Arena with a 300-meter diameter 2 days before had now expanded to a 3,000-meter scale, increasing 100-fold in size. The sky-reaching pillar that supported these arenas had become immensely spectacular, piercing the clouds and holding up the sky. I can hardly imagine what tomorrow's competition venue will look like, Sue Ran muttered to himself, craning his neck with effort just to catch a glimpse of the top of the sky-reaching pillar. The venue for tomorrow's King Stage level of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes would reach its largest scale, nearly matching the size of the sky-touching mysterious wood itself. At that time, the audience will be situated on the body of the sky-touching mysterious wood. It is said that will be the most bustling day of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes. Can, we must come to watch the competition tomorrow. Gazing up at the ever-expanding competition venue, Can exclaimed excitedly. Due to its large body type, it instinctively had a special fondness for gigantic things. While the Leaf Arena was already quite big, in Can's eyes, it was still not quite enough. Now, if it could revert to its original body type, it would reach a 300-meter scale, and if it were to fully utilize Jizamixu to further enlarge its body type, it could even reach 2,000 to 3,000 meters. This Leaf Arena wouldn't be enough for it to stretch out in. Therefore, it wanted to see what tomorrow's competition venue would look like. Although it wouldn't be able to participate at that time, having a look would be good too. Meow Tilda, let's first focus on winning today's competition smoothly. Xian raised a paw and gently tapped Can's head, revealing a bit more solemnity in its eyes. Although it was confident about successfully defending Leaf Fighting Platform number 3 in the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, the Leaf rewards were tied to its evolution materials, and it could not afford to lose them. Xilu Tilda, indeed, we should focus on today's match first. Star neighed in agreement with Xian's words. Tomorrow's matters could wait until tomorrow. Today's resources had to be secured first. This wasn't just about Xian's evolution, it was also crucial for his own evolution. Don't worry, we'll definitely come tomorrow, Sue Ran said with a smile patting Can's head. We've been here for the last 3 days. How could we miss the most exciting 4th day? But for now, Su Ran looked around and soon spotted the gigantic spirit ostrich from the past 2 days, handling the competitor's check-in with a special wreath on its head. It's getting late, we should go check in now. Gatilda. Watching Su Ran and his 3 companions approach, the gigantic spirit ostrich let out a low grunt, tilted its head, and motioned for Su Ran and his little trio to present their participation certificates. Su Ran, who had previously picked up the corresponding certificate from the Beast Master Association, quickly fumbled out a distinctive certificate stone from his chest and handed it over. Though it appeared to be a common, even irregular stone, it bore the unique aura of the Beast Emperor Sky-reaching Xuanmu, impossible for anyone to counterfeit. The gigantic spirit ostrich lowered its long neck, sniffed at the certificate stone, swallowed it with a gulp amid Su Ran's twitching lips, showing a satisfied expression, then pointed with its beak to a nearby passage, indicating that Su Ran should enter. The competitor's check-in was completed just like that, simply and swiftly. This scene caught the attention of many nearby people. Hey, isn't that Boss Su? Why is he participating in the competition as well? A beast master from Monster Wooden City, who had come to watch the competition, tapped his companion's shoulder. Chapter 529, 293, Boss Su. Chapter 529, Chapter 293, Boss Su, /. Boss Su, which Boss Su? His companion's face still showed a hint of sluggishness in his reaction. Who else could it be? The one from Starfair Foster Care Shop. You just recommended their washing and protection services to me the day before yesterday. Seeing the blank expression on his friend's face, he pointed towards the direction of the contestant registration area, speechless. Look, he's gone in. Really, Boss Su? His companion finally snapped back to reality, and following his friend's gesture, he saw Su Ran's figure, his expression gradually turning to astonishment. Is he here to provide washing and protection services for some contestant? Are you dumb? The person who had spotted Su Ran was at a loss for words for a moment. He went in with a certificate stone. He's here to compete. Compete, Boss Su? His companion couldn't help but gasp in surprise. This is the battle of 10,000 tribes at the general level. Enough with the chit-chat. Let's hurry up and grab good seats to watch the battle. The excitement in the eyes of the man who had found Su Ran was palpable. I have a feeling that today's battle of 10,000 tribes is going to be interesting. Similar conversations were happening in many places around them. Watching Su Ran successfully enter the contestants' passage with the certificate stone and truly head towards the direction of the sky-reaching pillar, a flurry of discussions quickly arose around them. Boss Su was no stranger to them. However, in the eyes of most people, Boss Su was just the owner of a foster shop known for excellent technical services but somewhat listless. Since his shop had employed staff, he rarely managed the shopfront personally. They had never considered that such a foster shop owner could also be a general-level beast master, capable of participating in the battle of 10,000 tribes. And just as surprised were the other human beast masters participating in the competition. Boss Su, am I seeing things? A general-level beast master who had arrived early to prepare for battle under the sky-reaching pillar couldn't help but widen his eyes when he saw Su Ran standing next to him. It's Mr. Zhao Chuo. Su Ran recognized the man who had visited his shop several times to purchase hundreds of hours of training time for his 3 pet beasts, smiling a bit more on his face. It's been a while. Yes, it's been some time. No, that's not right. That's not important. Zhao Chuo abruptly shook his head, quickly snapping back from Su Ran's playful banter to the initial crucial point. Boss Su, you're actually participating in the battle of 10,000 tribes. As a general-level beast master himself, Zhao Chuo was not completely oblivious to Su Ran's abilities. However, because the power of the 3 little ones was concealed, in Zhao Chuo's view, Su Ran could only be considered a below-average strength contender among general-level beast masters. And the battle of 10,000 tribes was the peak battle of all equivalents in strength across the entire Monster Wooden domain. Such a battle was not something someone of Su Ran's strength should be participating in. It's about being involved, Su Ran chuckled, speaking casually. The man before him, Zhao Chuo, had made a strong impression because he personally received and devised the training plans for the others' 4 pet beasts. Zhao Chuo's 4 pet beasts all had reached the completion stage of the general level, and their skill proficiency was even close to the full Halo level. Among the general level, he was indeed not weak. And from the look in the others' eyes, Su Ran could roughly guess what he was thinking. It's about being involved. Zhao Chu's expression turned a bit peculiar, but since Su Ran had put it that way, naturally he didn't feel it was right to say much else. Can you disclose which leaf arena you're aiming for, Boss Su? Number 3, Su Ran replied nonchalantly and openly. Number 3, huh? Zhao Chu let out a slight sigh of relief. The leaf arena he had his eyes on offered 2 rewards at number 15, and there was no competition between the two of them, nor a need to confront each other. This meant he didn't need to worry about facing Su Ran in battle and how to go easy on him. Wait a moment. Number 3. Zhao Chu couldn't help but bulge his eyes. In the battle of 10,000 tribes, every 10 levels marked a tier, and the rewards for the same tier were of equivalent value, differing only in attribute. Everyone would choose the leaf arena within the same tier that best suited their needs, so the rankings of the battle of 10,000 tribes did not entirely correspond to the rankings of strength. But without doubt, the higher-tier leaf arenas would see fiercer competition. Leaf arenas number 1 to 10 were outright Shura fields. Even Zhao Chu, who had considerable confidence in his abilities, had decided after careful consideration to painfully opt out of those challenges, settling for the number 15 leaf arena instead. Unexpectedly, Boss Su had directly chosen number 3 leaf arena. For a moment, Zhao Chu didn't know what to say. After a brief silence, he spoke slowly. Boss Su, if I'm not mistaken, the leaf reward of leaf fighting platform number 3 is of the fighting attribute, and the ranking reward is of the dark attribute, right? Yes, Su Ran nodded. What about it? Boss Su might be participating in the battle of 10,000 tribes for the first time, so you may not be aware. Zhao Chu's voice paused slightly. Once the 2 rewards for each leaf arena are announced in the battle of 10,000 tribes, the opponents you'll encounter in this battle have pretty much been set. The leaf rewards and ranking rewards of the battle of 10,000 tribes rarely feature the same attribute. This ensures that you will face opponents with different attributes, avoiding a contest restricted to just one attribute. Leaf Fighting Platform number 3, being one of the top 10 leaf arenas, will attract the strongest fighting and dark attribute general stage from inside the monster wooden domain. Zhao Chu's voice paused briefly. On our beast master side, there is a tough character who happens to have 2 pet beasts, each of these 2 attributes. As he spoke, he pointed to a figure on the other side. That's him. Su Ran turned his head to look, and quickly identified the person Zhao Chu had pointed out. It was a man he hadn't seen before, probably someone who had never visited Starfire foster care shop. The man was tall and robust, resembling an iron tower, and his presence brimmed with a ferocious aura, making him seem like a human-shaped transcendent being. Behind him stood a humanoid transcendent being, its body covered in sharp, pointed bony spikes, and its hands replaced by mantis-like sharp scythes. Just one glance evoked a strong sense of danger. It was an unidentified general stage fighting pet beast. Although at the moment only one of the man's pet beasts was visible, its formidable power made it clear that he was not someone to be trifled with. His name is Chuoba Hai, one of the rare combat fanatics among the beast masters of Monster Wooden City, Zhao Chu said in a low voice. The entire Monster Wooden domain forbids deliberate troublemaking and killing, so he often leaves the domain to engage in fierce battles in more dangerous areas. Leaving the Monster Wooden domain on their own, to fight in other areas of Beast Field number 47. Upon hearing such a description, Su Ran couldn't help but be astounded. That's a real hardcore fighter. Others fight against wild transcendent beings to defend their homes and survive, but his actions are purely for polishing his own skills. After all, the Monster Wooden domain is peaceful and thriving. Seemingly aware of Su Ran's gaze, Chuoba Hai turned slightly, and his indifferent eyes looked towards Su Ran. For a moment, Su Ran felt as if he was being targeted by a regal lion. Just as Zhao Chu had said, this was a formidable character. So does that mean I'll have to confront him for the victory on Leaf Fighting Platform number 3? Meow, fear not. Xian stared fiercely at the other party, and even exchanged a momentary look with the fighting pet beast behind Chuoba Hai. Its eyes, mismatched in color, were not only fearless but also surged with a sharp battle intent. This battle was about securing its evolution resources. Zailu beat him up. Even Starfire, who was usually more mellow, had a cry that became more fervent at the moment, clearly unafraid. If that's the case, I shall have a fair contest with that beast master named Chuoba Hai, said Suran, whose smile now carried a hint of concealed sharpness, influenced by the emotions of his two pet beasts. You? Zhao Chuo shook his head helplessly, obviously not very optimistic about Su Ran's chances, and what I've just mentioned is only the situation on the Beast Master side. If you really intend to vie for Leaf Fighting Platform number 3, Boss Su, the bigger challenge will come from the wild transcendent beasts within the monster wooden domain. Chapter 530-294, This place is mine now. Chapter 530, Chapter 294, This place is mine now. Wild transcendent beings in the monster wooden domain. Upon hearing Zhao Chu's words, Su Ran's eyes filled with even more curiosity and surprise. Initially, in Su Ran's mind, beast masters would undoubtedly pose a greater threat to him than wild transcendent beings. After all, the former could switch between different pet beasts, and they could also join the battle alongside their pet beasts. From the sound of Zhao Chu's words, were there wild transcendent beings that were more threatening than the beast master named Chuoba Hai they just encountered? Exactly, Zhao Chu nodded slightly, his expression turning a bit more serious. Within the monster wooden domain, some wild transcendent beings pose a threat even greater than powerful beast masters of the same stage. You should know that the status hierarchy among wild transcendent beings is very distinct based on their strength. This holds true no matter how savage other places might be or in the monster wooden domain. As for the highest status within the monster wooden domain, that naturally belongs to the beast emperor sky-reaching Chuanmu. Besides that, it can roughly be divided into 3 different levels. The first is the leading groups. Creatures of this level do not have a stable evolution path inheritance. Without special opportunities, they are destined to remain in the leadership stage for life, with their highest combat power being within the leadership stage. The second is the Beast King group. They have summarized certain rules of evolution that allow their members to evolve towards a certain king species as much as possible. Their combat power could leap significantly, with the strongest reaching the king stage. As for the third, Zhao Chu's voice paused slightly, that would be the Quasi-Emperor group. Quasi-Emperor. Su Ran's heart skipped a beat and his face showed even deeper surprise. What does that mean? The so-called Quasi-Emperor refers to transcendent beings at the Overlord stage. Zhao Chu looked around, lowering his voice slightly. Besides the sky-touching mysterious wood in this monster wooden domain, there are 3 Overlord stage beings, and their families are known as the Quasi-Emperor families. They are called Quasi-Emperors not only because their strength hasn't reached that of a Beast Emperor, but also because their evolutionary paths are unclear and haven't formed a heritage. The other members of their groups can hardly replicate their evolution path. So, aside from the group's strongest being at the Overlord stage, they don't differ much from the Beast King group, Su Ran asked tentatively. There still is a difference. Zhao Chu shook his head slightly. As Overlord stage beings, they can acquire more resources to develop their clan, making them several times stronger than the ordinary Beast King group. Stronger strength also allows them to better guide the more talented youngsters in their clans, making the junior members of the clan much stronger. The reason I bring this up is that one of the Quasi-Emperor groups is of the dark attribute. Zhao Chuo quietly pointed towards a nearby location where 3 ferocious-looking transcendent beings were situated. One of the 3 Quasi-Emperor groups is the Night Bear clan. Su Ran followed the direction of Zhao Chu's finger, and then his gaze sharpened slightly. There were 3 massive and burly bear-like transcendent beings standing over 10 meters tall each. Their gray-black fur was marked with pitch-black patterns, which occasionally flickered with dark light, causing the area around them to also become dim. The visible ferocious aura caused other competitors nearby to voluntarily steer clear, leaving a large empty space around the creatures. Among these 3 night bears, there was also a distinction of strength. They stood in a triangular formation, with the 2 in the back slightly deferring to the one in front who was somewhat taller and exuded the most formidable ferocity. Xilu Tilda, it is very powerful. Star neighed, its eyes reflecting a measure of recognition. As a dark attribute pet beast, it was able to sense that the leading night bear's strength could even exert pressure on it. Furthermore, unlike itself, which was only skilled in support, the night bear was a dark, extraordinary creature with explosive output. Meow Tilda, not afraid. Xian stretched lazily on Star's back, its heterochromatic eyes squinting. The night bear was formidable, but who would win and who would lose would be decided only after the clash. Both the rank reward for number 3 and the leaf reward for number 6 are dark-type resources, so at least 2 of the night bears will contend for these 2 resources. Zhao Chu shook his head lightly. They are difficult to deal with. Aside from the Quasi Emperor Night Bear clan, there's also another strong contender for leaf fighting platform number 3. Zhao Chu's tone shifted, pointing towards another side. See that broken jade kite there? Its reputation in the monster wooden domain isn't small. Su Ran turned his head to look and quickly spotted a kite bird standing quietly to one side, pooling its wings, with feathers smooth and lustrous like jade, and the distinct patterns within them giving it the semblance of beautiful, shattered jade. The bird seemed to be resting with closed eyes, and nearby it too was a small clearing where no one dared to stand close. Sensing the being's aura for a moment, Su Ran's expression became one of surprise. This transcendent being of the kite bird species was actually of the fighting attribute. A fighting attribute bird pet beast was something he saw for the first time. And Xian, who hadn't been too tense around the night bears, instantly tensed up upon seeing the broken jade kite. Its innate sharp sense of its opponents as a fighting pet beast told it that this creature posed an even greater threat than the night bears they had seen before. Chapter 531-294. This place is mine now. Chapter 531. Chapter 294. This place is mine now /. What is its origin? Su Ran asked curiously. As for the origin of this broken jade kite, I'm afraid only it knows. Zhao Chu laughed. It came to the monster wooden domain from another place alone, but its strength is by no means weak. It even has a brief confrontation experience with the Beast King. No one recognizes it, not even knowing what its initial species was before it evolved. Now that it has appeared here, it is clearly eyeing the resources within the top 10 of the Battle of 10,000 Tribes. Zhao Chu paused slightly. The rewards for leaf fighting platform number 3 and the ranking rewards for number 8 are both fighting attribute resources. It's just a matter of which one it's eyeing. I see. Su Ran nodded, understanding the possible opponents he might encounter later at Leaf Arena number 3. The first one is Chuobahai. According to Zhao Chu's introduction, the opponent has both fighting pet beasts and dark attribute pet beasts. Although he doesn't know the attributes of the other 2 pet beasts, he is very likely to choose Leaf Arena number 3 for the competition. The second one is the Night Bear clan. There are 3 members in the Night Bear clan, with 2 rewards in the top 10 containing dark-type resources and the Quasi-Emperor clan style of doing things, along with their own formidable strength. There will definitely be a clash for Leaf Arena number 3. Lastly, there is the somewhat mysterious broken jade kite. If nothing unexpected happens, the opponent will choose either Arena number 3 or number 8, and Su Ran must also prepare himself mentally in case it chooses number 3. Boss Su, why don't you change your target to a different Leaf Arena? Zhao Chu spread his hands and spoke softly. Having said so much, he naturally hoped that Su Ran could face reality and find a Leaf Arena that he was more confident about, rather than stubbornly choosing the hellish difficulty of Leaf Arena number 3. After all, aside from these 3, the capabilities of the other competitors wouldn't be weak either. Boss Su's choice of number 3 was commendable for its courage, but it's doomed to be without result. No, I still choose Leaf Arena number 3. Su Ran smiled helplessly, because the 2 rewards from Arena number 3 are exactly what I need. Beside him, Xian and Star both nodded in agreement. For their evolution materials, no matter what kind of competitors they are, they must be defeated. Cha Tilda, I will give it my all as well. Can shook its head and spoke with a determined voice. Helping its companions was helping itself. If Xian and Star could complete their evolution as soon as possible, then all the resource allocation that followed would prioritize it. Well, not necessarily. If nothing unexpected happens, by that time, number 12 should have rejoined them, right? Boss Su, you. Seeing that Su Ran was still adamant about choosing Leaf Arena number 3 as his target even after his advice, Zhao Chu's expression became complex. Then I wish you a smooth success. Thanks for your kind words, Su Ran smiled. Though he was not afraid of these 3 potential strong competitors. However, if he could obtain the rewards of Leaf Arena number 3 without encountering them, naturally, it would be even better. The time flew by as the 2 of them spoke. So Tilda. The clear sound of leaves rubbing against each other echoed, and at the same time, the invisible will of the Beast Emperor sky-reaching Xuanmu descended. informing the competitors waiting under the sky-reaching pillar that the battle of 10,000 tribes was about to begin. In an instant, the atmosphere among the competitors under the pillar became tense, faintly charged with a sense of imminent conflict. Zhao Chuo no longer spoke to Su Ran and took a few steps away, maintaining a certain distance from the other competitors. He summoned his pet beast, beginning to prepare for the upcoming fierce battles. "Star, you and Can wait for me under the sky-reaching pillar," said Su Ran as he dismounted, stroking the mane on the back of Star's head and speaking softly. According to the rules of the battle of 10,000 tribes, whether it's the initial race or the later guarding and challenging of arenas, beast masters can only cooperate with one pet beast. Therefore, for the initial racing part, Su Ran chose to cooperate with Xian. As a feline pet beast, it is more skilled at climbing trees than Star. Besides, the current Xian with its 4-star speed skill, the Path of Destruction, had improved dramatically, and its speed was even superior to Star's. The most important thing was that, in addition to speed, the Path of Destruction had another effect. That was the formation of a Lei Jing along the path, causing thunder strikes and paralyzing effects on any opponent it touched. After 2 days of observation, Su Ran had confirmed that not directly attacking other competitors was the rule during the racing process. However, if someone was incidentally affected, it fell within the rules and was not a violation. The Lei Jing formed by the Path of Destruction was now within that scope. As for Star and Can, they would wait below the sky-reaching pillar. Once Su Ran reached Leaf Arena number 3, calling them up would be in time. "Cha, go for it, Xian." Can, still in its miniature state, stayed on Star's back, waving its claws at Xian as a form of encouragement. Worry was written in Star's eyes, however. "Xilu Tilda, can Xian's stamina keep up?" It was common knowledge that among the trio, Xian had the weakest endurance. No, Xian had absolutely no endurance. With its explosive power, it might exhaust its strength in a very short time. While Star was confident about Xian's speed, if Xian ran out of energy halfway, that would be quite awkward. "Meow, who are you looking down upon?" Xian's eyes flickered with discontent, and it couldn't help but huff. Chapter 532, 294 here, it's mine. Chapter 532, Chapter 294 here, it's mine / Now, it's no longer the creature it used to be. After all, it has reached the peak of the general stage as a pet beast, and you think it would exhaust its energy halfway up the sky-reaching pillar. Xian raised its head, its eyes filled with a touch of pride. Just a small tree, well, not that small. Regardless, it will have no problem climbing to the top in one go. Wriggling in Su Ran's arms, Xian quickly leaped down, its deliberately shrunken body returning to its original size rapidly. Having broken through to the general level, Xian's true length was 4 to 5 meters, making it a large pet beast, and carrying Su Ran posed no issue whatsoever. "Here I come," Su Ran said with a smile, grasping Xian's soft and elegant fur, settling himself on its back. And truth be told, sitting on Xian's back felt completely different from sitting on Star's. The soft fur gave Su Ran the sensation of sitting on a throne draped with sable fur. "Meow Tilda, feels pretty good." Xian nodded in satisfaction, carrying Su Ran and taking a few steps on the spot, getting used to the new state. It really hadn't carried Su Ran before, as this task had always fallen to Star, and it felt a novel sensation for a while. A moment later, a familiar voice resounded once again. At the same time, the mental reward from the Beast Emperor sky-reaching Xuanmu. The battle of 10,000 tribes begins. Almost instantaneously as the mental message arrived, the competitors who had been ready below the sky-reaching pillar shot off like arrows released from bows, each using their own methods to charge towards the upper reaches of the pillar. "Yo!" Accompanied by a sharp cry, the broken Jade kite, which seemed to be resting with closed eyes, suddenly opened its azure eyes and took off into the sky with a flap of its wings. With the vigorous flapping, a whirlwind abruptly kicked up around, throwing up dust from the ground into the air. Despite being a fighting attribute, its takeoff momentum was even more ferocious than those of the wind attribute. An invisible force wrapped around its wings, as though an endless stream of power was erupting. The air was violently displaced, serving as a powerful force propelling it upwards. The moment it lifted off, its figure became blurred, appearing like a streak of cyan light, rapidly darting toward the top of the sky-reaching pillar. On another side, Zhao Chu's pet beast had changed to a different one by his side without anyone knowing when. Gone was the fierce and formidable fighting pet beast from before, replaced by a silhouette that seemed like a shadow or a ghost. The instant the mental message descended, the shadowy figure enveloped Zhao Chu and then slowly sank into the earth, turning into a vague black line on the ground, rushing toward the sky-reaching pillar, then along its exterior straight upward, its speed equally astonishing. Roar tilde. With roars filled with a fierce aura, three night bears set off together, wasting no time in action. Despite their massive bodies, their agility was impressive. Sharp claws viciously penetrated the outer wall of the pillar, and coupled with their powerful climbing, their ascent was swift. Within mere breaths, they had climbed over 100 meters. Watching the competitors take the lead, Suran shook his head and chuckled, then nodded at Star and Kankan, who had stayed in place. Xian, it's our turn to make a move, he said. Meow, no problem. Within Xian's heterochromatic eyes, purple electric lights suddenly burst forth. It had been waiting for this moment for far too long. The new skill it had just acquired 2 days ago had only been used in the training area during the past 2 days, and it couldn't wait to let its opponents witness its strength. Crackle. Accompanied by the grating sound of electric arcs piercing the air, Xian's presence soared, and purple electricity violently exploded around it. Even its body seemed to transform into a semi-energetic form, taking on a translucent purple hue. The next instant, Xian's hind paws gripped the ground firmly, muscles tense like a drawn bowstring, and after a very brief buildup of energy, it burst forth with power. Boom! Along with a deep thunderous sound, Xian's figure disappeared on the spot, reappearing nearly instantaneously 100 meters up the side of the sky-reaching pillar. Simultaneously, a clear, light purple path formed instantly between its starting position and its current one. Within that light purple path, lingering lightning sparks had not yet dissipated, and a potent thunder force could be discerned, enough to make anyone's heart tremble. Almost without pausing, Xian's figure flashed again, another 100 meters accomplished, and a second light purple path was formed. Then came the third, the fourth. In the span of breaths, Xian had already reached a height of 500 meters, leaving behind a path marked with long-lasting, clear creases wherever it passed. The previous leaders that had been higher than it were suddenly left behind in a moment. Now the only creatures above Xian were a few transcendent beings extremely adept at speed from the flying category. And Xian's unexpected, silent strike immediately shocked all competitors, simultaneously drawing all the gazes from the spectator stands. Is that Bossu? Looking up, barely discerning that distant leading figure, Zhao Chu's expression suddenly became stupefied as he was about to commence his first 100-meter sprint. So Bossu's pet beast is this powerful? That, thinking of the words he had just spoken to the other party, Zhao Chu felt a sense of impending doom. On the side of the sky-reaching pillar, the rapidly traversing black line also halted at the same moment, forming a tiny dark spot. As shadows spread out from the spot, it soon revealed the figure of Chuobahai's dark attribute pet beast. Chuobahai stepped out from within its body with a serious look in his eyes as he gazed at the empty space filled with Lei Jing's presence, and then he glanced at his own pet beast. Chapter 533, 294. This place is mine now. Chapter 533, Chapter 294. This place is mine now /. The dark attribute pet beast twisted its body, quickly separating a small cluster of shadows that lunged towards the thunder path. Crackle! The sudden explosion of lightning instantly devoured the shadow cluster, its terrifying majesty causing Chuobahai's pupils to narrow slightly and prompting those contestants who were originally closer to the thunder path to feel like they were in imminent danger, quickly maintaining a certain distance from it. Chuobahai looked up once again, his gaze thoughtful as he could barely make out Suran's retreating figure. Thunder attribute He hadn't expected Monster Wooden City to conceal such a formidable beast master. The rewards for the number 8 Leaf Arena and the rankings prize for the number 4 Leaf Arena were both of the Thunder attribute. Presumably, the opponent's target was one of these two. Thinking this, a trace of disappointment flickered across Chuobahai's eyes. Regrettably, their goals were not aligned. There would be no chance to confront each other in the battle of 10,000 tribes. However, his disappointment was quickly replaced by a frenzy. It didn't matter. As long as that person was still in the monster wooden domain, he would sooner or later seek them out for a battle. He was once again swallowed by his own pet beast, and then continued to climb upwards. On the other side, the speed at which Su-ran and Xian charged upwards had not slowed in the slightest with the passage of time. In just a few breaths, they had already reached the middle section of the sky-reaching pillar. Even those transcendent beings known for their incredibly fast flying speed, who had taken the lead in the charge, had fallen behind them one by one. At this moment, the only thing still in front of them was that streak of cyan light. Broken Jade Kite. This broken jade kite was truly mysterious. Although not a wind attribute being, it overtook one wind attribute transcendent being after another with its formidable fighting attribute physical strength, seizing the lead from all contestants. Yet Su-ran and Xian were slightly faster. The distance between them closed gradually. Meow tilde charge. As Xian fixed its gaze upon the broken jade kite ahead, it seemed to be touched by the joy of the stars for a moment. Thinking that the other could potentially be a strong competitor in the upcoming third arena battle, Xian couldn't help but feel an impulse to measure itself against it. The broken jade kite, too, had already sensed the rapidly approaching presence below. Mild surprise welled up in its heart, as it couldn't help but glance below with its aquamarine eyes. A human beast master. It could sense that the pet beast below was not stronger than itself, and was even subtly weaker, yet their speed seemed unreasonably fast. Thunder attribute Huh. In that moment, due to the pure thunder attribute skill of destruction used by Xian, the broken jade kite had the same thought as Chuoba High. If everything went as expected, the other's target must be either the fourth or eighth arena. And the resources for the fighting attribute were in the third and the eighth arenas. Their goals overlapped, but it was not a significant problem. Because the resources for the fighting attribute in these two arenas were different, and what the broken jade kite needed was the fighting attribute resource housed in the third arena, the extreme source vein crystal. Boom! Accompanied by another deep thunderous sound, Xian's figure instantaneously surpassed the broken jade kite, becoming the highest among all contestants. The broken jade kite calmly watched as the others caught up without showing any reaction. After all, their goals were not the same. However, glimpsing the remnants of the Lei Jing near it, the broken jade kite's eyes showed a hint of interest. With a powerful flap of its wings, a feather broke off, falling like a sharp dart, heading straight for the Lei Jing. The next moment, the erupting lightning devoured the feather, and the clash of two different energies created a small energy storm. Something doesn't seem right. Surprise flitted through the broken jade kite's heart. Chapter 534, 295 Fierce Battle, Defending the Arena. Chapter 534, Chapter 295 Fierce Battle, Defending the Arena. Because the chosen Leaf Arena was so high, by the time Su-ran climbed onto Leaf Fighting Platform number 3, the battles at the other Leaf Arenas below had already started one after another. The first few arenas that started the contest had even finished their fights, determining the first champion, and entered into the mid-battle rest period within the light films that rose from the arenas. However, no matter how exciting these battles were, when Su-ran stepped onto Leaf Fighting Platform number 3 and confronted the broken jade kite poised on the same platform, the majority of the crowd's attention turned their way. After all, the higher the Leaf Arena, the more likely it was to feature stronger competitors and more intense, thrilling battles. And the two about to begin their fight were particularly interesting. One of them had arrived at Demon Wood Domain about half a year ago, and with his robust strength, soon made a name for himself. He had a legendary experience of briefly contending against a king stage with only general stage prowess, yet no one knew of his past. As for the other, those unfamiliar with him were surprised by such a suddenly emerging powerful beast master, while those who knew him were even more astonished than those who didn't. Isn't that Boss Su? Who can tell them why Boss Su appeared at the Battle of 10,000 Tribes, and moreover, seemed to possess considerable strength? For a moment, the whole spectator stand plunged into a rumble of noisy chatter, with countless humans and wild transcendent beings discussing fervently, holding different speculations about the upcoming battle. In the spotlight, Su-ran, having taken the stage and facing the broken jade kite, sighed softly in his heart. It seemed his luck wasn't very good. The broken jade kite hadn't chosen another arena with fighting attribute resources as the reward, but had chosen Leaf Fighting Platform number 3 instead, making this battle inevitable. Hum, accompanied by a deep humming sound. A light film surged up from the edges of Leaf Fighting Platform number 3 and slowly closed into a hemisphere in the sky. Rich and brimming with life, a power that can be easily absorbed by pet beasts of any attribute burst forth from the leaves, blocked by the light film, without dissipating. Inside the light film, it transformed into a sanctuary for recovery, where both injured contestants and those exhausted could quickly recuperate. For the other Leaf arenas, only after the conclusion of one battle and the emergence of the first champion would such a light film appear, but the top 10 Leaf arenas had their own little quirks. Due to the significant strength required to reach this position, a recovery light film would appear even before the first battle started. About a minute later, the light film slowly faded, revealing both a person and a pet beast inside who had returned to their peak condition, as well as the broken Jade kite. Xian, do you want to take this battle? Su Ran asked solemnly, his gaze slightly intensifying as he looked at the broken Jade kite, which was radiating a powerful aura in the distance. Meow, I'll do it. Xian nodded vigorously, speaking without hesitation. Having gained so many resources in the distribution 2 days ago and becoming even stronger than before, Xian urgently needed an opponent to test its newfound might. And the broken Jade kite was just right for this. Crackle! A sharp sound of electricity burst forth, and electric arcs emerged from Xian's body, dancing wildly in the surrounding void, making its presence suddenly become dangerous. Let's do this then, Su Ran shouted, unfurling the layers of cloth binding the long sword on his back, drew his sword, and pointed its tip towards the broken Jade kite. This was not just a battle between Xian and the broken Jade kite. As a beast master, he was also a target for the opponent and could attack as well. Yo! The broken Jade kite trilled softly, shifting its gaze from Xian for the first time, looking towards the long sword in Su Ran's hand, a hint of surprise glinting in its eyes. The creature sensed a terrifying power within that long sword that could threaten its own safety, and what was more important, this power felt oddly familiar. It seemed that it had experienced something similar before. What was it? Contemplating for a moment and finding no answer, the broken Jade kite cast aside the thought for now and locked its teal eyes back onto Xian. Although this human appeared somewhat unusual, it still considered that the most threatening entity remained the pet beast that seemed to be of the thunder attribute, but indeed possessed both thunder and fighting attributes. Without any warning or countdown, the battle between them erupted in an instant. Boom! A deep explosive roar boomed on Leaf Fighting Platform number 3 as Xian's figure instantly vanished in one spot and appeared at the side of the broken Jade kite's body, leaving behind a light purple path nearly hundreds of meters long in the void. 4-star skill, Halo-level Path of Destruction. Observing the broken Jade kite, still frozen in place as if it hadn't yet reacted, Xian's dichromatic eyes flashed ruthlessly, and in the next moment, it abruptly lifted its claws, tearing ferociously towards the broken Jade kite. Boom! With a violent humming sound, a claw shadow tens of meters wide, brimming with both the power of thunder and fighting attribute, appeared out of nowhere, plummeting towards the broken Jade kite. Its swift descent caused a piercing howl through the air and raised a surge of energy. 3-star skill, Halo-level Destruction Thunder Claw. In just an instant, the broken Jade kite's figure was engulfed by the massive claw shadow, and the terrifying destructive power kicked up dust clouds that filled the arena. Chapter 535-295, Fierce Battle Defend the Arena. Chapter 535, Chapter 295, Fierce Battle Defend the Arena /. However, Xian, witnessing this scene, showed no joy on his face. At the instant when the claw shadows fell, he had already sensed something was amiss. He instantly turned his head, looking in another direction. A kite bird shimmering with jade-colored light had appeared there at some point, and was now hurling toward Su Ran. And what the claw shadows enveloped was not the broken Jade kite, but merely a piece of jade that turned to powder under the shadows in an instant. 3-star skill, Halo level, Shattered Jade Form. Among the audience watching the battle from outside the arena, those who were familiar with the abilities of the broken Jade kite now had an expression of as expected. Shattered Jade Form was a very strong substitute ability of the broken Jade kite. It could not only create decoys to confuse its opponent, but also grant a certain degree of concealment to the real body, making it very difficult for the opponent to detect the real body before destroying the decoy. Luckily, Xian was very fast, and its reaction was also strong. Otherwise, by the time it destroyed the decoy, the broken jade kite might have already reached Su Ran. Even so, the distance between the broken jade kite and Su Ran was very close now, just a few hundred meters. To the broken jade kite, such a distance was nothing more than a flap of its wings. Exposed, the broken jade kite no longer maintained the cautious speed that was impaired by fear, and suddenly flapped its wings with force, sending a fierce sweep through the void around it. Buzz tilde. Accompanying the eruption of the broken jade kite's formidable power, the space around it seemed to distort for a moment as it flapped its wings. The next instant, like an arrow released from a bowstring, it rushed towards Su Ran with fierce winds. To deal with a beastmaster, naturally, the weaker beastmaster himself should be the breakthrough point. While the broken jade kite had great strength, it was also sufficiently cautious. Only it seemed to have forgotten something. Su Ran and Xian didn't understand its abilities, but did it truly understand the abilities of this duo? Zyla. Accompanying a sharp explosive sound, electric currents burst forth in the void. Next to Su Ran, at the point where Lei Jing began, a figure rapidly reformed amidst the lightning, taking on Xian's shape. Xian, which had just landed, didn't hesitate and raised one of its forepaws to viciously grab at the sky. The next moment, thunder burst from the clear sky. An immense bolt of lightning, seemingly born from nowhere, accurately struck toward the jade shadow that was rapidly sweeping through the air. That almost anticipatory strike seemed poised to collide head-on with the broken jade kite, and its ferocious and inexplicable aura left no doubt that, if struck directly by the lightning, the condition of the broken jade kite would not be good. Yeah. With a sharp cry mixed with a touch of shock and rage, the arrow-like shape of the broken jade kite shifted quickly. It flapped its wings viciously forward, using powerful force to sharply decrease its speed, like slamming on the brakes, to avoid a direct encounter with the bolt of lightning. The immense kinetic energy made the jade-like patterns on its body even clearer. Such a sudden deceleration during high-speed flight, even for the physically strong fighting pet beasts, was not something easy to withstand. What made the broken jade kite more uncomfortable was that despite its efforts, it still couldn't completely dodge this attack. In the instant the lightning struck the leaf arena, it exploded like a nuclear blast, accompanied by a thunderous sound that echoed throughout the venue, spraying countless lightning bolts that danced like thunder snakes, sweeping everything within dozens of meters, and engulfing the recently halted body of the broken jade kite in an instant. 4-star skill Halo level, God Lightning Rage Thunder. Under the first effect of God Lightning Rage Thunder, its full force was displayed at this moment. As a long-range area of effect skill, its strength had already surpassed what was expected of the general level, causing the audience outside the arena to exclaim repeatedly. Many customers who had dealt with Starfair Foster Care Shop now looked at the imposing Xian, struggling to connect it with the small cat that lay on the counter of Su Ran's shop every day. Although by leveraging its special skill, it almost gained the advantage and attacked Su Ran himself, from what really transpired. That powerful and mysterious broken jade kite had seemed to be under pressure from the start. Looking at the dazzling lightning on Arena 3, all the spectators began to feel a bit nervous. Could the broken jade kite withstand this wave of attacks? Could it launch another effective offensive? Under the watchful eyes of the multitude, as the lightning gradually dissipated, the figure of the broken jade kite also became clear in everyone's view. Scattered around it were pieces of shattered jade, apparently the result of using some kind of defense skill at the moment it was engulfed by the lightning. However, it was evident that this skill had not completely blocked the attack. The jade patterns on its body seemed as if they were really shattered, becoming clear and fearsome, and those cyan green eyes appeared dimmer by several shades. What further indicated its condition was the slightly listless momentum of the broken jade kite. The last strike had dealt a heavy blow. That was despite the broken jade kite reacting promptly, not entering the very center of astonishing thunder fury, the area where it was most powerful. Yeah. With a cry, the broken jade kite spread its wings for the first time, lifted from the ground, and after swooping up 100 meters into the sky, it stopped, flapping its wings and once again confronting the human and their pet beast. In its eyes surged a profound and serious color. After an exchange of blows, it had probably grasped the measure of this opponent. Chapter 536, 295. Fierce battle defend the arena. Chapter 536, Chapter 295, Fierce battle defend the arena \\. It was precisely because it had figured things out that it could no longer see through them. On top of its original might and speed, with the added ability to return broken Jade Kite, was now entirely certain that the dual attribute pet beast speed skills exceeded the 3-star threshold and had reached the level of 4 stars. At the same level of 4 stars was also the hit that had just landed on it. Thinking of that terrible strike, a trace of fear unavoidably flickered in broken Jade Kite's eyes. If it had reacted just a bit slower, perhaps it would be lying down already. In theory, only Emperor species should possess 4-star skills. But after feeling Zeon's aura from up close, broken Jade Kite could confirm that Zeon had not completed its second evolution. It was still the same king species as itself. Though puzzled, a stronger will to fight surged within broken Jade Kite as a result. Even if it did not know why the opponent had such powerful skills, as long as it was also at the general stage king species, there was no reason it would lose to the opponent. Thinking of its own origins and identity, broken Jade Kite took a deep breath and once again soared higher into the air. Multiple shadows peeled off from its charging form, spinning rapidly around broken Jade Kite, and together with its body, transforming into a whirling spear blade that shredded everything. The next instant, like the sword of Damocles, broken Jade Kite, with an overwhelming momentum, thrust directly at the human and pet on the arena. 3-star skill, Halo-level broken Jade killing robbery. Meow coming again. Seeing broken Jade Kite, which had just endured its strike and yet didn't retreat from difficulty, Zeon's eyes shone with a ferocious light. As it lifted its forepaw again, a thunderbolt encapsulating mysterious divine might descended from the void. However, this time, the thunder did not strike the ground as before but fell upon Zeon's paw. That mighty thunder, capable of tearing everything apart, tamed like a docile lamb in Zeon's claws, obediently converging according to Zeon's will and then further converging until it formed an almost solid, purplish-black thunder spear. Anyone could feel the extremely dangerous and terrifying aura emanating from that spear. It was a force of similar intensity to the earlier one, but much more solidified. The broken Jade Kite, hurtling towards the human and pet at full speed with lightning-like swiftness, also had its pupils constrict violently at this moment. A tremendous sense of crisis emerged within it in an instant. Then in another instant, Zeon made its move. With an extremely light motion twist of its waist, an invisible power was infused into its claws in an instant, and with this strength belonging to the fighting attribute, Zeon ferociously threw the spear it was clutching in its claws. Swoosh! Accompanied by a sharp howling of the wind, the purplish-black thunder spear turned into a lingering afterimage and rapidly flew out. It wasn't a mere throw, but one of the effects of God Lightning Rage Thunder's second skill, unpredictable in might. Watching the rapidly approaching purplish-black spear shadow and feeling the faint intent to lock on sweeping over, broken Jade Kite's pupils shrank to pinpoints, and a powerful determination erupted from within. Crack! With a crisp sound echoing across the leaf arena, the broken Jade Kite, which was originally on a collision course with the purplish-black spear, dissipated into a sky filled with blue light and vanished, even escaping the lock-on power inherent in astonishing thunder fury. This surprised looks appeared simultaneously on the faces of Su-Ran and Zeon. What's going on? Outside the arena, the highly exciting battle prompted gasps and heated discussions among countless spectators. When they saw broken Jade Kite disappear, another wave of gasps erupted. What's happening? Was broken Jade Kite shattered? How is that possible? The spear hadn't even touched broken Jade Kite. This must be an ability it activated on its own. Don't you know about broken Jade Kite's abilities? What is this? This, I don't know. I've never heard about broken Jade Kite having this ability before. As the spectators were discussing heavily, with many starting to guess what ability broken Jade Kite was displaying, on the other side of the stands, a gigantic lion with a formidable aura looked at broken Jade Kite's ability with a complex expression in its eyes. Woof! Before, were you wounded by it using this ability? Next to it, another beast with a similarly terrifying aura, a land tortoise, asked in a deep voice, its eyes filled with curiosity. Roar tilde. More or less. The giant lion shook its head, apparently not too willing to recall that experience. After all, as a beast king, being defied by a transcendent being at the general stage, and even getting wounded was nothing honorable for it. Roar Tilda. That human kid is going to lose. The voice of the Lion Beast King was filled with certainty. Having witnessed Broken Jade Kite's move, the Lion Beast King was very clear that the human could not win. Woof. I, on the other hand, think that human will win. The Land Tortoise Beast King's eyes held a hint of interest as it looked towards Su Ran and Xian on the Leaf Arena. A general stage fellow possessing 2 skills with power surpassing 3 stars, it felt that the human might still have other surprises in store. The Lion Beast King stayed silent, focusing intently on Leaf Fighting Platform number 3. Skills surpassing 3 stars in strength. Wasn't what the Broken Jade Kite had just displayed also the same? On Leaf Fighting Platform number 3. With its target suddenly vanishing, the purplish-black Thunder Spear ultimately stabbed into the Leaf Arena, blasting open countless terrifying fissures in it. Chapter 537-295. Fierce Battle, Defend the Arena. Chapter 537, Chapter 295. Fierce Battle, Defend the Arena / Streak after streak of green light timely emerged, the cracks visibly repaired at a speed discernible to the naked eye. But to leave such marks on the arena made from the Beast Emperor sky-reaching Xuanmu at the general level proved the mightiness of that strike. However, Su Ran and Xian did not take this to heart. At the moment, the only thing on their minds was to find the suddenly vanished Broken Jade Kite. Xian, watch our surroundings, Su Ran commanded in a low shout, tightly gripping his long knife and slowly closing his eyes. A sharp knife aura, as if it could split the heavens, surged from the blade, merging with Su Ran's momentum in a blink of an eye, then spread out in all directions. Under this knife aura, with his eyes closed, Su Ran acquired another way of sensing his surroundings, and thus faintly perceived a clue. There was something hidden in the void all around. They were countless invisible shards, too tiny for the naked eye to detect, floating lightly in the air and omnipresent throughout the Leaf Arena. On each shard, there was a trace of the Broken Jade Kite's aura, so faint and dispersed that Su Ran and Xian had almost failed to detect it just now. Xian. Meow, what do we do? Thunder shake heavenly sound, cover the entire arena. Meow. After a brief exchange between master and pet, a commanding voice that carried authority suddenly echoed throughout the arena. As the voice resounded, countless thunderbolts surged and erupted on Leaf Fighting Platform number 3, transforming it into a thunder sea. The grandeur of it was so unexpected that even Xian, the initiator, jumped in fright. Feeling its power draining like a floodgate had been opened, Xian was instantly dumbfounded. Since when had thunder shake heavenly sound become so powerful? Only Su Ran, slowly opening his eyes, paid no attention to the ocean of thunder around him, leisurely rewrapped the cloth around his long knife, and then calmly slung it on his back as if he had anticipated all this. Thunder shake heavenly sound was Xian's first 3-star skill. For a long time, it was Xian's strongest output skill. Although it was trending towards obsolescence due to the upgrading of other skills, in certain special circumstances, its role remained irreplaceable. Such as now. The essence of thunder shake heavenly sound is to hide thunder force within the sound, spreading it in all directions. During this process, any object the sound touches will cause the unstable thunder force to explode instantaneously. At a low proficiency level, thunder shake heavenly sound could only react to visible objects, causing thunder damage within range. But as the proficiency level of thunder shake heavenly sound increased, even objects invisible to the naked eye could not escape its assault. The aforementioned invisible shards were among those affected. Since there were innumerable shards, the might of thunder shake heavenly sound unleashed by Xian reached an unprecedented level. Although Su Ran was unclear about what the Broken Jade Kite would do next after using this ability, striking first was always the right move. The current state of the Broken Jade Kite might make it difficult for many opponents to deal effective damage, but this didn't include Xian. Yow! Letting out a pained and weak cry, the body of the Broken Jade Kite, along with the converging thunder light, reconstituted. Its azure-green eyes were filled with reluctance, and the twitching electric arcs around its body made it nearly impossible for it to twitch. On Leaf Fighting Platform number 3. Accompanied by the sudden disappearance of the target, the purple-black Thunder Spear ultimately stabbed towards Leaf Arena, causing countless terrifying cracks to explode on the platform. Streams of green light emerged timely, repairing the cracks at a speed visible to the naked eye, but leaving such marks on a platform crafted from sky-touching mysterious wood by a beast emperor with general stage power was enough to demonstrate the terrible force of the strike. However, Su-ran and Xian did not take this to heart. At this moment, they only had one thought in mind, which was to find that suddenly vanishing broken jade kite. "Xian, help me watch the surroundings," Su-ran exclaimed in a low voice, gripping his long sword and slowly closing his eyes. A sharp sword momentum, as if it could split the heavens, rose from the blade, merged with Su-ran's aura in a blink of an eye, then spread out in all directions. Under this sword momentum, Su-ran, with his eyes closed, gained another way to perceive his surroundings, thus vaguely detecting a clue. In the void around him, something was hidden. It was countless bits of jade that were too small for the naked eye to detect, lightly floating in the air, ubiquitous across the entire leaf arena. On every piece of broken jade, there was a trace of the broken jade kite's energy, so faint as to be almost imperceptible. Because it was so thin and scattered, Su-ran and Xian had barely noticed any sign of it before. "Xian! Meow, what should I do?" Thunder shake heavenly sound covered the entire field. "Meow!" After a brief exchange between human and pet, a domineering voice suddenly resounded throughout the field. With the echo of the voice, suddenly, countless thunderbolts surged and burst across leaf fighting platform number 3, turning the whole area into a thunder sea. The scale was so grand that even the originator Xian herself was startled. Facing the power that drained as fast as a breached dam, Xian was instantly stunned. Thunder shake heavenly sound, when had it become so powerful? Only Su-ran slowly opened his eyes, not even glancing at the surrounding sea of thunder. He leisurely wrapped his long sword in cloth again, and then calmly slung it on his back as if he had anticipated all of this. Thunder shake heavenly sound was Xian's first 3-star skill. For a long time, it had been Xian's strongest offensive skill. Although now it seemed to be marginalized due to the upgrading of other skills, in certain situations, its usefulness was irreplaceable. Like now, the essence of thunder shake heavenly sound was to hide the thunder force in the sound, spreading it all around. During this process, any object touched by the sound would cause the unstable thunder force to explode instantly. At low proficiency levels, thunder shake heavenly sound could only react to visible objects, causing thunder damage within the area. But as the proficiency level of thunder shake heavenly sound increased, even things invisible to the naked eye could not escape its attack. The previously unseen broken jade was one such object. Because there were so many fragments of jade, the power of Xian's thunder shake heavenly sound this time had reached an unprecedented level. Although Su-ran was not clear about what the broken jade kite intended to do next after using this ability, it was always right to strike first. For many opponents, causing effective damage to the broken jade kite in this state might be difficult, but this did not include Xian. "Yo!" Producing a pained and weak cry, the body of the broken jade kite reformed with the gathering thunder light, its eyes filled with reluctance. The continuously flickering electric arc around its body made it difficult to even twitch.